What's up, and welcome back to the channel. You're listening to Ninja Night. This is Chatterbox number 2. Second show on this one after the rebrand. I have to say, really enjoying it. And I think last week as well too, just thinking about last week, as I always do, us overthinkers, where people that think about things and say, how did that go? What did I get done? And was I happy about what I talked about? And I have to say, towards the end in particular, I was really happy talking about the likes of entertainment and that, because I know for a lot of people, escapism is very important, and indeed it is important. And I think that's why you're seeing the rise of great creators like Ethan Van Sciver and Eric D. July making their own comic books. And I think it's going to be something we'll see in the entertainment industry, like some movies, TV series. We've already seen a movie that's starring Gina Carano and Cowboy Cerrone that's out there. That's a great start. But I'd like to see more of it. And I think more of it is what's needed. And I understand with these big companies that they don't want competition. You're seeing it now at the moment. If you're keeping an eye on what's going on with the Warner Brother and Discovery, it's very interesting to view from an outsider's point of view, insofar as looking in on it, looking at the people that are getting very upset by what Warner Brothers and Discovery are doing. The like of these articles coming out saying these people don't want diversity. Well, here's the thing. That's not the thing. That's not the problem. What the problem is that you're putting stuff out like She-Hulk, for example. We'll talk about that this evening. That's bad product, and it doesn't need to be like that. But what's also happened is a lot of people now have seen it and said, who's at the wheel of these things? Who's running that? What are they saying? Well, you've also gotten a chance there. You've gotten a crack at the whip there. And unfortunately, it's not gone well for you. So when you were seeing the likes of David Zaslav coming in going, who do I have here? Right, of the two fellas that made that Bad Boys movie, that was awful. They should have brought Michael Bay back for that. That was awful. It was. Did a very big disservice to Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. And they've made a Batgirl that doesn't look like Batgirl. Yeah, that can go. Now, I will say this. I do think it's very unusual to see that they're still hanging on to the Flash. I think that that's very unusual. If it was me, I'd be like, yeah, get that out of there. Considering what's going on at the moment. But when you're seeing some of the shows like Kevin Smith getting upset, Zoe Saldana getting upset about it, I'm looking at it and saying to myself, right, that's an interesting one. That's a funny one to see now. And I'm going to see more of it. And you're going to see more of it. You're going to see more of them going against them and what he's saying. Big word today now is that DC Comics are going to be shut down. And Jim Lee is out of there. That's very interesting to see, because a week or two ago, he was saying the Snyderverse is absolutely not going to be happening. They're not going back towards it. And I think that's good to see that he's on his way, because if it was me, the Snyderverse is popular. It's something that was successful. And that's what the company need to do. They need to move back towards success. And look what him and Walter Hamada and Jeff Johns did. They took out a very integral part of Justice League in Cyborg that the movie was centered around an awful lot, and they made a mess of it. So good to see those guys gone. It's fantastic to see. And I think you're going to start seeing this as well too in everyday life. You're really starting to see it now from everyday life. And to me, like looking at what's going on here politically here in Ireland, I mean, we'll talk about Ben and Blah now from last week. I think it was phenomenal stuff from the lads and ladies that turned up there and did what they did. We'll be talking about and showing the video later on. But it's fantastic stuff to see the energy that's around the place now. And I'm talking to more and more people every week here in Ireland, and they're sick of the woke stuff. They're sick of not saying what they feel and what they think and what they feel is the truth. They're sick of telling lies. They're sick of ignoring what's going on. And it's wonderful to see in many articles that you're seeing online, particularly on the likes of Facebook and that, because people have the ability to comment on it rather than signing into a website. You're seeing a lot of pushback against what's been said. They're even there this week. I've seen a number of articles that have been asking questions of what's going on, and people are like, well, it's very simple. The government is at fault. And I think that is very interesting to see, because not only has there been public sentiment that is not favourable for the government, but also for the opposition, because it's long past due now where people are saying to themselves, well, we'll give them a shot. Like, people are looking at what Sinn Féin have done for the last couple of years, and they're like, you've not been good either. What you're doing in the north is not good either, and it doesn't look like it's going to be changed. So there is a real need and emergence of a new political party. And to me, when I seen, even it was sent on to me there, Paul Joseph Watson's Anything Goes, when he was highlighting what's going on in a college here in Ireland with one of the National Party's posters, or I think it was a sticker up, and people were upset about it. I mean, here's the thing. Common sense has to prevail. And as I've said many a time before, everybody's in agreement that China is for the Chinese, Nigeria is for the Nigerians. Like, that's what I would expect if I went to those countries. If I went to Nigeria and I was sitting over there doing nothing and expecting loads of them, That wouldn't last there very long, and rightfully so. What was happening here, though, in this country and indeed in the Western world, is people have been conditioned to accept that type of nonsense. Whereas when you go to those countries rightfully, in my view, if I went to South Africa, the Congo, the Ivory Coast, China, Japan, wherever it might be, Brazil, they wouldn't accept me coming over there, acting the go, and then looking for handouts. They just wouldn't do it. Now, the other side of it is you've got a problem at hand then, which is the housing issue. And when you were a country as small as this one, with the development that's going on and the apartments that are going on, what happens then when an economic problem happens, which it is going to very, very soon in this country? You're going to have a lot of places then, as I said last week, that are going to be unoccupied, which is going to lead to a number of problems. Like, I will even talk to you about my own life, and what I mean by that is people within it. I don't know nobody that is renting in an apartment. Now, that might not be the experience you have. You may very well be renting an apartment yourself. But I know nobody, not one person, not in my family circle, not in my friend circle like that. Nobody renting an apartment. Zero. And I'm saying to myself, like, where are all these apartments coming from? Who's in them? What's happening with those? And what happens then if there's a financial crash here and indeed economic problems that people are going to migrate? As I've said there previously, there's multiple people that are emigrating already from this country, that are from this country, that have decided to tap out and move away. And I keep saying to them, like, that's the wrong thing you are doing. What you should be doing is you should be getting in at grassroots level. You should be involved in politics and change this. Running away off to Australia, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, America, that's not going to do anyone any good. What you're doing is you're just making sure that the further youth and generations of this country are going to be in serious trouble. And it's the same type of peril that's there from the last number of decades. The same old story, moving away, and then the same governments, the same political parties are hanging on. Why not stay in the country and make a big difference? Why not get involved even as an independent, even if you're not politically inclined? Get involved as an independent and run against these people. Run against Damon Ryan. Run against Micheál Martin. Run against Leo Varadkar. And give them the message, tell people the truth as to what's going on. Because that's what's going to happen now in the next few elections. I believe that the Irish people now have woken up to what's going on. I believe that honesty, integrity, and the truth is coming back. And I do think that when people are listening to that, they're very intrigued and they want to know more. The kids' gloves are off now at this stage. And this whole thing of, like, say nothing because you don't want to be perceived a certain way, that's over. That's done. Because that's not working anymore. Someone calling you some sort of vista or anything like that, that's done. Nobody cares about what someone is saying about that, because 9 times out of 10, I would say, maybe even 10 times out of 10, it's some absolute fruitcake that's saying these type of things. Someone that you wouldn't even have a conversation with at all, that's talking about other people in a negative way, and you're looking at them going like, hang on here, you can't string a sentence together, and you're someone that you think that you're going to call someone else something. Madness. We were talking about some of the stories here tonight as well too that's happening in Ireland, as you know, I always like to do. I like to go through some of the headlines and talk about them, and again, I'm only forming and giving my own opinion when it comes to these things as well, by the way, and that's all I'm doing. And I think people like to enjoy 20 and hearing the chat now so far. Now I'm after making a mess of something there. I'm after touching off the comments. That was a great start there. You know that this is a Gonzo production, by the way, guys, when like clicking off comments. Let's say hello to the chat now in a moment. Welcome back here on a Friday night as well too. Very much so appreciative of everybody that joins in. And again, thanks to everyone that was here last week. Thanks to everyone that likes, shares, subscribes. Thanks to everyone as well too that's in the chat. Big shout out massively as well too towards the moderators as well too in the chat. Fair play to you guys. You're absolutely fantastic. You're doing great work over the last number of weeks. I know that there's been a couple of spammy stuff that have come in here, and I'm very much so appreciative of the work that you guys do. It's outstanding, and really do have to say thanks to that one. So here we go into the chat. Saints and Scholar says, forced to hit like. Good to see you here. Ben Truth Uncover says, see the latest lads prices hikes. SSE electricity to increase gas bills by 39% and electricity by 35.4%. We need to get on top of this. Energy companies are having a free-for-all. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, Ben Truth, insofar as if you have someone that's an ordinary head going into positions there, they're going, here, hang on there for a second. As I keep saying, the haves and the have-nots. You've got the likes of Leo Varadkar. He ain't going to be worrying about his electricity bills. The likes of Eamon Ryan, they ain't going to be worrying about that. Even the lower level fellas now, even the likes of Robert Troyes of the world, they're not going to be worrying about electricity and gas prices at all. They're not worried about that in an instant. Not at all. Not a worry in the world that I have. I'll tell you who it's going to worry. It's going to worry the likes of Johnny that's kept herself locked inside the gaff for the last 2 years. And she's going to go, I don't know why this is happening, but I know why it's happening. And listen, if you're going to take what you took for the last couple of years, you're going to take much more of this here. So it's now about time that you say enough is enough. And as I said, I think more and more people are waking up to that. More and more people are getting towards that. And I think with the summer, what I actually should say is, I know with the summer that we've just had, that most people are probably not feeling electricity and gas bills right now. But it will happen now towards the likes of October, November, December, and long then into February, because it's cold here in Ireland, in towards, I'd say, even March, you could even say. And people are going to start feeling it then. And then there's going to be a real discontent amongst the public, and rightly so. And I think it's important that you point out to people who is responsible for it. The government is responsible for that. These people in these places, like the likes of VSB, the electricity and all that, they're unregulated. And they're just let run rampant, they are now at this stage. They're talking about regulating all sorts of other things. You want to regulate how you talk, when you talk, how you talk, and they won't regulate these companies. Says it all, doesn't it? Yet at the same time as well, too, this Irish government are spending $3 billion to bring people into the country that they haven't checked out. And here's the thing, as I keep saying, if you're coming to this country and you possess a skill, if you are a surgeon, if you are an electrical engineer or whatever it might be, something that you actually need in this country, I've no issue with that at all. No issue with that whatsoever, because if you need skills, you need them, and that's just that. But you vetted that person, you understand that that person is going to come in and is going to do a good job and is going to do something that you need them for. However, when you're telling the people of Ireland, which Micheál Martin did, that there's no security checks, we're not checking who any of these people are. You're seeing articles then from the likes of the Guardian.co.uk that are telling you that Albanian gangs are moving into the UK and are moving on to parts unknown. Where do you think they're going? They're going to come here. And if you think that the guys that we have currently, because media like to report on the guys that we have currently, are anything in terms of what these other groups are going to do, you're sadly mistaken. You're seeing the crime rates as well too in the likes of the UK. You only have to look at those and you say, statistically, who's involved, what's involved, where are they involved? And you look at them and you say, well, that's going to be a very similar thing here. Ireland, and in particular Dublin, is going to turn into Gotham City. And that's why I like entertainment, because you can reference these things sometimes. But it's going to turn into Gotham City. And it's been turned into Gotham City because of unregulated prices and indeed people that are not being checked coming into the place. And it's causing major issues. And it's going to cause major issues because, as I keep saying, the likes of bringing people in unregulated and unchecked isn't by mistake. It is to cause division, and it is to cause issues amongst people in their everyday lives, in their ordinary lives, so you don't look higher upon that and say, actually, here's who's responsible for high energy prices, here's who's responsible for high house prices, here's who's responsible for all of the issues that you have. And that is it. It is a constant game of, look at what this hand is doing while this hand is doing something else. So the thing is, you're looking at even the talk about Robert Troy during this week, and you're saying to yourself, so we've completely forgotten about the last 2 years then, have we? We're going past that now, are we? Because that's not the way I think we should be looking at it. And indeed, when you're seeing some articles out there, and they keep regurgitating the same article, by the way, it seems to me, again, speculatively, they are putting out articles like, oh, Gardaí have visited people that have made claims. What about the people that have engaged in all sorts of behaviour for the last 2 years there in government? What about that? What about Luke O'Neill? Have they arrested him at all and questioned him about his involvement in anything? No, they haven't. Okay. Well, what's happening now is more people now are starting to look at that and saying, hang on, question marks around that one, guys. How come you're not upholding the law? How come you're not defending people's rights? What's the story with that? And then you see Joe Rogan speaking to Zuckerberg there yesterday, and some very interesting claims made by Zuckerberg, by the way. Very interesting indeed. Now, Salty's been calling it for a long time, but three-letter agencies as well, Tim, in particular, when you're looking at those guys, you're like, whoa. Zucker just confirmed it. So anyway, yes, Ben Truth there, completely right there. Electricity increase in gas and electricity, 39% and 35.4%. It's going to be interesting what happens towards the winter. Now, a lot of people had speculated, and indeed, I think have been proven correct. It's very odd to see what's going on behind the scenes. Now, I think there might be, part of it might be reality is going to buy home, possibly in November. But I also think that, now when I say in November, I mean in America, because what happens in America inevitably ends up affecting this place. I think it might buy home because you're seeing a lot of retirements. I mean, Paul Reid ducks out of his job there 2 months early. You've got Fauci is ducking out as well too in December. I wonder why. I wonder what they know. I wonder what they think is coming. However, as I keep saying, part of it is to deal with a reshuffle of the deck, I think, sometimes. And when you have a reshuffle of the deck, it is to create new faces with the same end goal. And it's kind of similar to entertainment when they recast someone and you're like, well, War Machine here in this movie played by Terrence Howard, and then the next movie is played by Don Cheadle. Well, what's the end goal with that? Well, the end goal is to kind of have him around and, then big him up then when we need him. All right. Not just leave him in the movies and make him a big character like he was in the comics. I don't know. That'd be too easy. What about Hulk? I know, we're going to have Hulk, and do you know what we're going to do? We're going to have Edward Norton as the Hulk. Oh, fantastic. That's great. Great opportunity and great choice. Yeah, but he's not agreeing with the way we want to go with the soy Hulk. So we've gotten rid of him and we've gotten Mark Ruffalo in. Right. That's how that went. But yeah, I think, as you said there, Ben Truth, there's going to be way more protests now according. Derek McMahon says, good evening. All hope everyone is well today. Lomson Phillips says, good evening, everyone. Nice one, Ninja. Looking forward to it. Derek McMahon says, remember to at Ninja Night in the chat if you have a question or a point to make. Derek McMahon, you're an absolute stalwart when it comes to that. I forget that nearly every week. I really do. Okay, let's go through it. Ninja Night, the Bargain Town of Finglas was largely redecorated by concerned locals. We need, he says, he makes a suggestion there. Well, the thing about the Bargain Town in Finglas, and indeed what Philip has been doing as well too, big shout out to Philip Dwyer as well, and you've Satirical Soldier, and then you've got Derek Bloig as well too out there, Dave Cullen as well too is out there, and Mick O'Keefe as well too are out there, all just highlighting what's going on. Like Philip did a great video there on the Bargain Town in Finglas, and again, I think it was very interesting to see how quickly that was moved on and how quickly that was dismantled, in particular because of the mention of the fire brigade and the restrictions that could have been placed there and the safety. Wasn't it interesting? But the thing that really kind of got me about the video, particularly the follow-up one that he did with the people boarding, and when I say people, the men boarding the coach, I was just saying to myself, I was like, they're just going to be carted off to somewhere else in the country. Like, who knows? And all these people now are going to scatter around the place. Like, it's absolutely incredible. What do you think about the video as well? That Philip wrote, guys, as well. He's talking to a fella from Georgia. He didn't have any English according to him, and he's walking around here. Like, I mean, listen, I know people that live in Australia, and they said like that just would not be tolerated in Australia. They were like, you either speak like an Aussie or you're out. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. Something to be said about that one. Nana Murkiw says, good evening. Good evening to you. Let's have a look now. Borova 1014. Attitudes are changing, even with normies, in regards to topics of conversation being mentioned about being pushed further down the ladder in our own country. It is starting to reach boiling point now, I think. And in my opinion, I think what you've seen is now you've seen a gross overestimation of how much political capital that these people think they have. And now it's going to come home to roost. Because I'm telling you, I'm talking to people all the time and they cannot wait. Cannot wait. Now, as I said, you should be on the front foot and you should be emailing these people anyway, but they cannot wait until these people start knocking around looking for votes. Like, it's going to be interesting because this whole thing now of, there's your man, sure, look, I'll say nothing, that's done, that's over. And as I keep saying to people, they have folders in their phones now of separate political parties. So when the Sinn Féiner knocks at the door, all right, yeah, hang on there for a second, just, who are you again? Oh, yeah, okay, hang on. Oh, yeah, you voted for that for the last 2 years. What's the story with that? You were absent from a very important vote there. And actually, I've noticed that you're here in this picture and you're bending the knee. Would you care to explain any of that? No? All right. And then, again, as people are doing, they're showing you these images, again, videos as well, too, of them speaking to these people. Again, I keep saying to people, calm, respectful conversations. Very important because you're getting the point across. And more people are looking at it and going, yeah, actually, I see that point there now. I think I totally agree with that. And again, not just Sinn Féin, Labour, Greens, Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, because these are the ones that have been involved in the commotion that's been going on for the last couple of years. But certainly you're seeing people now that are starting to get irked by things. And I've seen a couple of articles even in the last couple of weeks where there was businesses and companies and places like that were complaining about not being able to get staff. And in the picture then there's a blue and yellow flag flying behind them. And most people were like, that's why. Because people are looking at it and going, I'm not getting involved in that. And that's exactly what you have now. You've got people that look and go, no, I'm not putting the badge on. No, thanks. Interesting. Refusing Sean's in here says, evening all. Sean Max says 91,000 plus immigrants have come to Ireland according to the CSO from April 2022 to April 2022. Probably another 80,000 plus Yeah, the thing is as well, 91,000 plus. I would be now. You've probably gotten your years mixed up there. Outside of 2012, you meant till 2022 or 2022, I should say. What is coming into the country, by the way, is grossly underestimated, I would assume, because when you see the amount of people that are coming in on buses all of the time, and I mean, this is something that's been widely reported. That's not even the people, by the way, that are coming in on trucks in like lorries and all like that and are running out in Scarper. Like, that's not including people like that, and that happens. Let me tell you that happens. And again, by boat. So if you travel from the UK over here, then by boat, are you being counted then? Like, it's highly unlikely. So to me, if you were running the show, there's a very easy way of doing that. And I mean, the CSO as well is obviously something that I think personally that the likes of the political parties aren't fans of, because when they see that, that's a negative thing for them when you're looking at nearly 100,000 and then you're going to go plus 200,000 at this stage inward, and you're looking at it going, hang on here, the country's starting to get worse. There's also a curious thing going on as well too about what happened in Sligo, as I keep saying to people as well too. People, I mean, there's people here in this chat that follow this channel that are, as I keep saying to people, the real gay community, and they're here and they're understanding as well too that they haven't got a mention in June about what happened in Sligo, and a very interesting story that's coming up about Sligo here that I have this evening. So when you're talking about that, then the net inward thing, as I keep saying to people as well too, when you have so many people that are coming into the country, and here's the thing, like if you were running the show and you were telling people I don't have space, and then you say, okay, bring more people in, that doesn't make sense. And as I keep saying to people, it's very simple. It's like having a 500 milliliter bottle of Coca-Cola. And that's got nothing to do with what other people look like or where they're from or nothing like that. It's just basic fact that if you have a 500 milliliter bottle of Coca-Cola and you fill it with, I don't know, Fanta or something like that, and you say, well, I'm going to put a liter bottle into the 500 milliliters, you know, it can only fit 500 milliliters. And then these people are like, nah, sure, we'll put a liter in. And the liter has been poured into it and it's spilling all over the place. And then they're telling you, oh my God, that's your fault. Like, you'll have to clean it up. You're looking at them going, you're the one pouring it. I'm telling you not to pour it. I'm after telling you not to pour it. We have democratically elected you not to pour it. And you've decided. It's a crude way of saying things. But we've democratically elected you at this table to be the pourer of the drink. We told you not to pour it, and yet you kept doing it. And now you're saying, that's your fault. You're in this. You don't like Fanta. You're an orange phobe. And you're sitting there scratching your head going, this person's a moron. Actually, no, they're not a moron. Who's that behind them? Oh, they like forums. Did they? Okay. All right. Well, maybe you should ban the forums. I think that'd be a good idea. Are you involved in that forum over there? Yeah. No, you shouldn't be holding political office at all. That's what's happening there in Florida, by the way. He's not messing around. He's like, are you involved with them? Yeah, bang, you're out. It's absolutely wonderful. And the same people that are upset then are the ones that were going, you take it or you can't go to the restaurant. You can't go to the gym. But that's grand. I'll build a home gym. Yeah, like most people did. And okay, yeah. Ben Dunn wants to charge me how much now to go to the gym? With me home gym. Good luck to him. You know what I mean? So this is all that's starting now as well too, and it's a delayed thing. Like, I'm seeing it even with cinema prices. People keep talking to me about them. I've not gone to the cinema now in a long time. Probably to Top Gun Maverick. But even at that, I was like, well, I'll go and see that, support that. I'm going to see anything else? No. Because I'm not giving the money, and the money's way too much. You know what I mean? But yeah, you've got an awful lot going on here in the country, and people are starting to wake up to it. And not only are they starting to wake up to it now, but they're starting to get informed. And when you're informed, especially with data, with statistics, with figures, it does set you across from these people, and these people go, whoa. Like, I've talked to a couple of people now that have been questioning themselves. Not without, like, I mean, not like at my request or anything like that, but they've been questioning the medical profession anytime they meet them. And the medical profession are very, very squeamish. They don't know how this has happened or why this has happened and why the sudden authority that these people had is gone. Because people are starting to go, okay, yeah, what's the statistics behind that one there? And they're looking, going, And it's very interesting, because if you're in that gig, should you not know the statistics? Like, that's, to me, is very simple. And yet you've got these people that are out there saying, like, if you're a footballer and indeed you're someone that plays for Manchester United, or indeed you're a manager at Manchester United, you should know the statistics, which they do, of how many kilometres these fellas run. They know all this. They know who's at fault for goals. They know who's at fault for problems within the team. They're able to identify these things. Yet then you've got people that are up there that are doing very important things that I don't know statistics about things like that. Like it's coming to a head, it really is. And I mean, as I'm saying to you as well too, I want to say this being respectfully, lawfully, peacefully, very much so, and I'll always endorse that. I want to see people doing things in grassroots positions where they're going for the likes of their local community, their local councillor, their local TD, and running against these people, because at the very least, what you're going to do is you're going to start getting people's ears, and you're going to start getting people listening to you and saying, yeah, actually, I agree with what that person is saying. And yet then you'll have the other irrational individual going, well, this person's this and that. Yeah, but listen, this guy that's over here is telling you that you'd have the house prices down much more, and then he's going to be very much so following like what Denmark did, which is that they have specific places. I mean, where would you get it that you've got a guy talk there in the likes of Englishman and Inishore, and the likes of the media are running around telling you they're resettling people on these islands? That's a negative, because what happens then when most of the islands, which are reporting in the likes of County Clare, in parts of County Clare there, are majority people from another place, and now the locals are telling you, meh, if we spoke Ukraine, it'd probably be a lot easier. Excuse me? You know who Ireland just celebrated last week, don't you? Okay. And by the way, the media and the way they celebrated Michael Collins last week was a fascinating watch, because there was a number of articles that came out that were like, should we respect and honor Michael Collins? And you're looking at them going, oh, we know exactly why you're saying that. we know why you're doing that, because everybody knows that Michael Collins is a hero. Everybody looks at the current history of Ireland and the way they look at it and say to themselves, yeah, I don't like Eamon De Valera, not at all, and especially what followed him, and especially what went on. But we do like Michael Collins, and Michael Collins is liked for a number of reasons, and a lot of people, myself included, often think how Ireland would have turned out had Michael Collins stayed alive and been prospective and possible leader of this country. I think it would have been fascinating to see. But yeah, there's a lot of people now starting to understand what's going on. Yeah, Sean Mack comes back and says April 2021 to 2022. So 91,000 plus intake in a year. That's outrageous. Plus the 80,000 allegedly into this small country. Let's see if there's some other comments there now as well. I keep going. Amy Wilson here says, hey everyone. Page just covered the Wexford TD Ninja night. Lee Hughes says, evening all, what's up, Ninja? Yeah, they're talking about the property empire as well too, of what's going on. Let's keep going. Orva says, Nigeria bans non-Nigerian representation on TV adverts. Yeah, Nigerians moved to Ireland. Yeah. I'll have to check out that one. I don't know whether that's factor or anything like that there, Barva, but I'll have a look into that one, because if that's true, that's hilarious. That is. I've also noticed as well too, as of you, how are you doing there? Emmanuel Godson's in here, says, hey fellas, LGX is even though. I've also noticed too as well too that there was a couple of articles, I highlighted them here it is, where I'll show you this evening, and the author is writing about themselves. And what's curious as well too is the stock image that they're using. They're using a stock image where they're a white woman, and they're using a stock image then of like a black family. And you're looking at it and you're like, everybody knows the maneuvers and movements you're making here. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone gets it. You know, everyone knows that you're using it for a specific point, and yet you're just deciding to move totally away from what you are. It's a very bizarre thing. Like, I couldn't imagine a Nigerian author in Nigeria, and I'm only picking Nigeria as an example, but I couldn't imagine a Nigerian author over there that is centuries in the country picking a stock photo of a white family. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it'd be very bizarre. And if you were living in Nigeria, you'd say to yourself, that's weird. Same as well too if you're in like China or somewhere like that. If you're a Chinese writer and she is like a Chinese woman, family's been there centuries, and then next of all she's putting up a stock image of like, I don't know, a Brazilian or something. You're like, what is that about? Like, that's got nothing to do with China. It's very strange. Anyway, She-Hulk, anyway, I'm going to do a review on this one, guys. This is a banger here. I got that meme sent to me, and it's absolutely tremendous. Now, this isn't actually what she looks like in the show, just to be clear out there, but this is what the show is. It's absolutely hilarious. I have to say this, right? I seen a picture of the girl that plays She-Hulk, like the real girl that plays. Obviously, you know, she's using CGI here and that, but they make her look awful in the show, and she's not that bad looking. She isn't in real life. Now, they had said that they were looking for Alison Brie for this role, and they just decided not to take her. I don't know. Alison Brie is a very attractive lady, and I don't understand why you wouldn't pick her. Got a couple of memes here. This meme went obviously too small. Independent RE was saying report shows nationalism is on the rise. I'm only joking. What I did was I posted over that they were saying report shows far right is on the rise in Ireland. Well, what's far right and define far right? Okay, what is it? Do you want law and order? They're interested in heritage and culture. Well, I don't see the problem with that at all whatsoever. But you want to label people something now, and now you're starting to say that everyone's far right. Like I seen a comment there the other day that was labeling Tyson Fury as being far right, and you were like, all right now, okay, right. You've taken the mick now a lot of times, but that's overstepping the boundaries here. You know what I mean? You're calling Tyson Fury far right. Like you gotta be joking me here. Like that's it's beyond. This is a good one here. How's the Irish, not the world there from National Party's post there? They've got a couple of things. Not in my county. Now these people that call you these things, by the way, right, are the very thing that they are calling you. They 100%. These are the people that were mad for the lockdowns. They were mad for everything to do with your freedoms being impeded. They gleefully talked about it and were deliberate. What's very interesting is the low amount of energy surrounding their movement now at the moment. And has that got something to do with some of the suddens that are happening? Possibly. I'll add no further comment to that one. But you're seeing these people then that will view everything through the lens of race. I mean, here's the thing: like, for someone to call you the likes of this, right? Like, how bizarre is that? Because you grow up, you watch movies, you know what I mean? Like, I always remember Wesley Snipes as being one of my favorite action movie stars, and I mean, never for an instant did I look at him and go, "Well, I can't like him because of what he looks like." Never at all. Wesley Snipes was just Wesley Snipes, killed out. You know, you've got the Power Rangers as well too. I'm a fan of the Power Rangers, and if you try and call me this, I don't know how, especially when they're the most diverse team of all time. Before he's even used and hijacked the likes of the word diversity, Power Rangers were all looking different. You know what I mean? And you're looking at these people, and these are the same people that are calling you and when you're like, well, hang on for a second, guys. Zach the Black Ranger, when you make him into an Asian fella in the movie, that's not correct. That's not Zach. And they're like, oh my God. And you're like, no, hang on here. You're missing the point. You've actually deleted the black character here and you've moved her over to another character that you've made autistic. That's not like for like here, you know. It's you've done bad things, you know what I mean? And these people are like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Nobody cares what you think. Nobody cares what you think, and that's the issue with the country and indeed the world. A lot of people have put a lot of stock into what these individuals are saying, but you've realised now for the last number of years and indeed months, like I mean, you see Tucker down it as well too. He's just laughing at them. That's what you do, just laughing at them. And this is what's happening now. It's been a long time coming where you've seen memes like this becoming very prominent in America. And I mean, it's often talked about salty, you know, like some pamphlets and stuff like that. When they had a revolution against the British, that pamphlets were very important. And indeed, as well too, here in Ireland, you know, word of mouth talking to people, pamphlets would have been handed out here as well too. And that's what got people saying, hang on here for a second, actually you can see what's going on here now, and these type of people that are involved in these things. And you see the likes of that then, you know what I mean? And that's why I keep saying to people, like I've seen a lot of people, particularly being labelled this, who are nationalists, who are interested in conserving their heritage, their traditions, their cultures. And a lot of them, funnily enough, seem to be very attractive ladies. Especially, well, what I mean is, like, you know, the ladies that are on our side, that's what I mean by that, you know, attractive women. But then you go to the other side of the coin there and you look at it and you see the likes as I showed you up there then as well too, the She-Hulk, you know, and you're looking at them going, all right, you are the people that are out there now saying that you wouldn't have anything to do with men. You're assuming that men would have anything to do with you in the first place. And I'm talking about, like, there are a lot of desperate men that are out there that will desperately go for things. However, they will not go for you. Like, and you're telling them you're on strike. So they're having an laugh at that. You know what I mean? And this is the thing. What's happened is now, and you've seen it as well over the last number of years, particularly in entertainment. I always find it entertaining when you see these shows that go really hard on, say, like, you know, oh, it's a history type of show, or even like the Game of Thrones and stuff like that. And you're like, that wouldn't have happened, you know. You're overplaying your hand here now because it just wouldn't have went down. And that's why these shows have been lacking in quality, because in times gone before, it'd have been a different issue. That's why I think, like, say, for example, you've got Stranger Things, and what's very interesting about that and all the seasons that are involved, Nancy Wheeler is a good character, but she's also a character as well, too, that wields certain things that they don't like in America. The Duffer Brothers are clearly based, you know what I mean? It seems that way to me. But you've got this image here that I think perfectly sums it up as well too. You've got a lot of people that are anger addicts that are very happy to come on to the internet that haven't been listened to or would be waved away in reality in real life. This is the thing. Like, the internet is a good thing because it's getting people very informed on what's going on, but it's also giving a voice. And I mean, here's the thing, guys. The type of person I am is everyone should have a voice, and I think you are more than well in your rights, in my opinion, to spout wherever you want on the internet in terms of your points or point of view or opinion or anything like that. I have no issue with that. But you've also then got people that are going to go, yeah, no, I don't agree with that. And think that that's okay. But these people don't think like that. They think that the likes of a Twitter and all that should be a safe space for them. And this is why they don't come over to Gettr or Gab or anything like that, by the way, guys. Like, I had someone that tried to attack my profile on Gettr, and what I mean by that, like, they just came out of nowhere and started spouting stuff. But they couldn't hack it past 20 minutes of back and forth because I was able to say what I wanted. And this person couldn't understand it because I'm sure they were trying to hit all sorts of report buttons, and Getter's like, nah, everything looks good here. Say what you like. And again, as well, too, more so on Gab. This is why these people, by the way, very much so fear Gab, because Gab, people are putting ideas together. There's candidates that are joining Gab. They're posting on Gab. And you're looking at it and saying to yourself, like, none of these type of people here on the left here are coming over to that platform because they can't last more than 15 minutes without the Mickey being taken out and being laughed at and not having the ability to report it to someone to say, they're hurting my feelings, because they'll just be laughed at. And that's what's happened, particularly with the likes of Twitter and Facebook. And I know as well, too, the point man that has been here has hit me up and said, like, about Facebook, someone that was involved with him. And I mean, I hope I'm not speaking too much out of school here or anything like that, but someone that was involved with him, they were reporting his post and all that. Now, I know that happens, and you know that happens, and this is what's going on. Whereas when you go over the Gab, like, things like this, they're like, oh yeah, that's great, that's sound. I mean, this is what's happening as well, too. I seen this image that was shared on the internet the other day, and I said I'd talk about it because this is happening now, and it's very interesting to see because it's been shared by a couple of people that are in prolific positions, particularly within the media, and they're sharing things like this. They're like, seems to be a problem. Yeah, because the issue that's happening is you've got developers that are developing apartments, copious amounts of them, by the way, and seemingly there's still a problem. Now, here's the thing. I'm not someone, and again, I'm not someone to look down at someone. If you're someone that has an apartment like that, I'm not looking down on you. I'm not saying anything or anything like that about you whatsoever. What I'm saying is, I just personally am interested in an apartment. That's just me. Now, do I like the thought of it? Sure. Thought of it's good. Do you know what I mean? And there's different ways of looking at it. However, it's not something that I'm into myself. But you've got now an issue that's at hand, which is a lot of apartments have been built. And if I was stuck, an apartment is what I would go to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there was nowhere to buy, I'd go towards an apartment. That's not happening, though, it seems. What's actually happened, and indeed, it's a problem that's gone filtered right back to it. When apartments are built, they're bought in their entirety by companies, by faceless corporations. And listen, I'm someone that's interested in capitalism and stuff like that for sure. However, I do find it very odd. I think it was a Foil Arms and Hog did a brilliant skit they did. They're an Irish actor, a comedy actor, very, very good. And they did a skit as well too, where there was like 10 people in a line, and they acted out where there's a fella at the top and he's like, oh yeah, I'm interested in some of the properties, And the fella behind him's like, yeah, no, like, it's going to be my first house, like, I'm very happy with this. And then the property's open, your man's like, I'll buy all 600 apartments. And the 600 apartments, gone. Now, the 600 that are in there are renters. And then, obviously, then with the rental market as well, these people just go, yeah, we'll whack it up there. Prices, €2,000 to rent a little room like this in the place. I've seen another one. There's another fella that shares stuff on the internet as well too. Kieran's Crazy Prices, I think he's called. Shared no, I'm not joking you, a landing in a house. And over the landing, over the banister, was a bed. They built a bed in, and they were charging €1,500 for that bed to be in the house. Like, that is obscene. And that's not even talking to you about other estates and places, particularly Georgian houses, by the way. Georgian houses that are packed to the rafters with people. You look at Daft.ie, and you look at some of these places that are looking to rent. They're telling you they'll rent you a room, not even a room, but a bed in a room, and there'll be 10 other heads there around you. Like, it's way out of hand now at this stage. But the point I'm getting back to is, you've got Irish people as well too that are not buying into the rental market, and they're not buying into the likes of apartments because the apartments have been prohibited from them. So again, as I keep saying, who's going into the apartments? Like, who is entering these things? Because I don't know anybody that's living in a local apartment. Zero. So how can that be? This was a conversation that was put up there. It said, so my landlord is converting the sitting room into a bedroom. We have only been made aware of this today, that he plans to start work Monday. I am unable to contact the RTB now that it's the weekend. There'll be less living space and increased utilities usage as a result. This is insane. And the reason why this is insane and that this is happening is because of a lack of interest. Because, I mean, you've got governments that are in there and a lot of them are landlords. So they're on the winner. Like, if you're getting 5 people into a house and they're all paying £2,000, you're delighted with life. But, like, that's not right, obviously. But that comes down to then allowing the likes of these funds, these vultures and all that, as they are called, to come in and buy up properties en masse. Like, it's coming to a point now, and, you know, as I'll say to people too, the youth, running away from the country is not a good idea. What you need to be doing is you need to be staying, and you need to be changing this grassroots levels, TD levels. You need, like, I mean, the likes of a Jack Chambers or anything like that, or any of these other guys like Simon Harris or anything like that, Helen McEntee, who are all what you would consider younger people. They're all not changing this. It's going to have to come down to you, because they're not going to turn around where they're sitting in their nice little mansions or whatever they might be, nice areas and all that. They're not going to turn around and go, do you know what, actually, I'm worried about Jimmy down the road there. Jimmy there now, he can't buy a place at all. Well, here's the thing. I own the house, and if I put Jimmy and 5 others in there, I'd be on an earner. You know what I mean? Like, there's actually no way these people are going to turn around and go, yeah, I'll grow a heart today. Not like the Grinch. No, the Grinch, he gained the heart eventually. But these people ain't going to do that. But here's the situation that you're in, like, and this is how you know how bizarre the rental market is, by the way, too. And rather than going, right, we're out, and what would have happened in years gone by, again, because you have the supply and demand is through the roof now. Well, I should say the demand is through the roof, the supply not so much. So if the people that were involved in this house here vacated tomorrow, he'd have no problem filling it. And that's the issue. And as I keep saying to people as well too, when you have an overabundance of something in something, it becomes very easy then to haggle against them. It becomes very easy then for you to say, oh, well, you know, there's 6 other people that are interested in that. They're going to pay 2,500 and you're paying 1,900. You're looking at accounts, sure, I can't pay 2,500. And they're going, well, okay, then you're out. So it's coming to a very big crossroads right now. There's also an adequate kitchen storage space for another occupant, as in terms of fridge and food presses. He plans to keep the rent the same, but the rental arrangement would be decreasing in value from when we enter the tenancy. 100%. Because if you've entered into a place and you have a 4-bedroom and indeed a sitting room, you now no longer have a communal space then. So you've now got a position where everywhere in the house is filled, and what you've got now, and particularly with a lot of people that I know too, if they're in this game of renting in a house, they end up in someone else's house for a large amount of time. So in like a friend's house, where they've got their own house, or they end up in a friend's parents' house, wherever like that. They actually spend more time outside of the house that they're renting than they do inside it, because of these situations. But these situations are going on, and they're not being held up, not nearly enough. Like, you're hearing, I have a story here tonight as well, by the way. I'll go through it later on, where there's students, I think it is, in DCU that are suggesting to the college, wait until you hear this one, suggesting to the college that they are able to put their tents on a campus for the students to stay in. Who's in the dormitories? Who's there? What are they doing there? If you're telling me they're from some other place, well, listen here. They've opened McDonald's across back there now. The Klitschko's are on Facebook every day. They're posting. Liev Schreiber's walking around the place. Bono's done a sing-song over there. Loads of people have gone over there politically. These people don't need to be there then. You know? Like, is it not simple? So, we'll get on to that story later on. But that's a crazy one. He plans to keep the rent arrangement the same, but it's decreasing in value. Can anyone please share accurate insight into legislation on this, if there is any? And from what I've seen online, there isn't. It's just a free-for-all. A free-for-all. And when a free-for-all like that happens, it's, like I said, people's as I keep saying, it's cause and effect. People's baseline instinct is to either stay and do something about it, which is to protest, which is to show their displeasure with the likes of voting. I personally think it's going to need more than that in terms of people getting involved with being election candidates. Again, as I keep saying, peacefully, respectfully, being involved in being election candidates, because here's the thing, you might not get in this time, you might not get in next time, but you'll have to hear the people, and the people start realizing. And then when there's support gathered behind you, and when people say in an area of 2,000, and when the large majority of that area, are coming out to the likes of talks that you're doing, or listening into what you're doing, you'll start to understand then very quickly, and they will too, that the other person that's winning these things doesn't seem to have that following, doesn't seem to get that many people that are out there for them, doesn't seem to have a large likability amongst the area. And you'll start to see people start to kind of change. This is why they have to do what they're doing now in America. America is going to be very interesting come November, because they can't do the same thing again what they did a couple of years ago. They just cannot do it. There's no way they can do it in multiple places. And that's why you're starting to see a real retraction from these people. And that's why you see, like, even Rand, he's talking and saying, oh, you might be resigning there, lad. You might be getting out of Dodge, but I'm coming after you. And like, that's the type of energy you need. Currently, that's not there now here in this country. There's nobody looking at the situation and going, Micheál Martin's out now in December. We'll have a look into that. The DPP think it's not a prosecutable offence by Leo Varadkar. So people are wired to that. They're starting to see it. And not only are younger generations seeing this because you're involved in the internet, but the younger generations are now telling the older generations. And there's a mass awakening happening there too, by the way. Because there's a lot of people saying, oh, I thought this was the way things run. You go, no, here's how it's running. And they're in and they're talking to their friends. They're going to the pub now. They're meeting for the pint and saying, here, what do you think about that conversation? It's very important. This is wonderful to see. And what's very fascinating about this video is it's Micheál Martin's own words in the speakerphone. And there's a couple of people that look around surprised, as if to say, like, what's that? It's great. I credit to Philip Dwyer on this one. He got this one going. I'll give this a bigger expenditure. Or was it expenditure? Expansion.
Let there be no doubt about where Ireland stands. We want nothing to do with the backward-looking idea of sovereignty. We want nothing to do with the backward-looking idea of sovereignty. Let there be no doubt about where Ireland stands. We want nothing to do with a backward-looking idea of sovereignty. Let there be no doubt about where Ireland stands. We want nothing to do with it.
There we go. So it's interesting stuff to see at the very least. Like, you see the two lads there now that are looking around and going, we know where Ireland stands. It doesn't stand with you. Are you not hearing the words of... And I mean, here's the thing, right? What's funny about this. The bills are happening there as Micheál Martin, Simon Coveney and Leo Varadkar coming on. And I'm sure now at this stage, I mean, there has to be a meme coming forward, which is going to be like Leo Varadkar saying, they're not, and I'll start it again. There has to be a meme coming that's like Micheál Martin going, are they booing? Are they saying boo? Like the Simpsons one. And like Leo Varadkar saying, no, they're saying boo Orns. Boo Orns. Like the Simpsons. Because this is very interesting to see. And again, like as I said, there'll be a couple of people there, obviously, you know, one or two mountain off there saying that they don't want that to do with the lads and ladies involved here. That's Micheál Martin's own words, by the way, saying that he doesn't want to look at and be involved in a backwards idea of Irish sovereignty. A backwards idea. So that's what you're supposed to be commemorating here. This is what this man, Michael Collins, stood for. Sovereignty, Irish sovereignty. And here's the idea, okay? If you don't want to be sovereign, well, then what we currently have then running the country are just administrators, very highly paid administrators, and multiple administrators. If you want to be someone that's going to take directions from someone else, which I do not think we should be, because I believe in that we do not serve king nor Kaiser, you should then forgo most of the politicians that are in the Dáil. They shouldn't be there. Because why do we need, we'll just say, 200 odd people there when 2 is probably enough? Why? And that's a question that people are starting to ask now. They're saying, hey, hang on here for a second. How come you're on an earner there for doing nothing? You're telling us now that Brussels are telling you what to do, or Germany. Sure, what are you here for? And that's starting to get into public sentiment too, as well as this one. And I think it's very effective to play Micheál Martin's own words, because this is what they are. His own words then in the ceremony that's supposed to be commemorating an Irish hero. And these people pretending like they're going to commemorate. Now, this is before the soldier fell on his face. And again, I hope he's okay. But a very suspect and strange thing to happen where the soldier falls over just out of nowhere and the camera pans towards the crowd and gets away then as much as possible. And 2 fellas then run over to try and pick him up. Now, of course, they'll tell you it was a warm day and the lads are suited up. These would be fellas now, they're in the Lebanon and stuff like that, actually really warm places, wearing all sorts of stuff. So when you want to go and tell me that it was from heat, I'm skeptical about that. I'm asking questions when it comes to that. But what you're seeing is now people going to events like this, and you've got the people in the front of the barriers there that are probably supporters, shills, the likes of that as well too, allegedly, of course. And the real people here are here going boo, because they're right. And this is very interesting to see, because in years gone by, as I said, the civility between the public and politicians, even though the politicians were doing very negative things for things that they're not being investigated for, not nearly enough, these people now have overstepped the line, the politicians, in segregating and discriminating against people here in Ireland, which they chose to do, which they voted for. And now, as I said, you are going to have civil problems, because what you're going to have is people that understand that you do not respect them, you do not respect their choices, and you do not respect their freedom, their liberties, and their rights. You are going to have an enormous issue going forward, because if you're expecting those people to vote for you, they're not going to do that. If you expect those people to kindly speak to you, you're not going to get that. What you're going to get is people that are going to be quite irritated by you. And this is the end result, which is, hey, we're showing up, we're booing you because you don't make a lot of public appearances and you won't talk to people. So at ceremonies like this is where you're being booed. Now, you've got the likes of the mainstream media and other people out there that are telling you that it's terrible to be booing at an event like this. These are the same people that are down on all fours telling you that Cromwell's a great fella. So don't pay any hate to these individuals. This is exactly the type of thing that Collins would have been involved in. Exactly the type of thing. Standing on this side here, booing the likes of this. Absolutely. I've no doubt in my mind. Because what has been happening in this country for a very long time now, but it's finally come to a head with the internet, particularly because it has shown people and it has given people that clip like Micheál Martin telling you didn't want to have anything to do with sovereignty. Now people are starting to gravitate toward it and say, actually, hang on there. But could you imagine being in this field here and looking around and hearing Martin's words, and then you're looking up at him there and going, Michael Collins is a great fella. Hang on here, that's conflicting with what you were saying. And this is what I'm talking about. That is a meme. Seriously, that's a meme, an internet video that has now gone public. And I think what's very, very interesting is you get a couple of people that turn around and say something, but the large majority of people are just standing saying nothing. Because what's very effective, I think, in situations like this, you've got the people that are up here that are trying to clap the drowner out. People are hearing that now and that are there. They might not have heard that before. And that's why that's important. Like, that is crucial. I can't say that enough, that bringing that then out and showing to people publicly, they haven't seen that. The amount of people that don't watch the likes of what goes on in the Dáil or any of the clips around that, they'll see what they see on RTE, but they won't see what's going on all of the time. And clips like that are very important. And as I said to people before, when you have little clips like that, and indeed videos like, as you see there as well too, Pat Kenny, they're trying to give him a bit of promo as well too, even like having an interview with Brendan Gleeson. I mean, everybody likes Brendan Gleeson, and they have Pat interviewing him. Do you want you to forget about what Pat Kenny's been up to for the last 2 years and what he's been saying and doing? You know what I mean? And that's not to be forgotten. And these are the type of things, as I said, they're going to be clipped and played to pat down when people say, "Hey, what you think of that?" Ryan Tubridy coming out and complaining about people videoing when he's in public. Hang on here, Ryan. Here, there's you there talking on your show, and people in the audience there sitting there with nappies on their faces. What's the story with that? What's the science behind that? How come you didn't ask Luke O'Neill when he was on with you? And that's what's going on. You're starting to see the memes become reality. This is, I mean, I don't think this video can be highlighted enough as to how important it is, because this is exactly like what we're seeing in America, which is people going out in public, booing these people, telling these people what they've said, and then playing for these people what they've said. You've seen a lot of it now when the likes of the press secretaries out there in America. You've seen it as well too when Joe was out talking as well. It's great to see people finally standing up and saying something to these people, because, as I said, we didn't start any sort of issues like these. These people in these elected positions did. They chose to discriminate and segregate against Irish people. They chose to put people under duress. They chose to stop people's livelihoods. They chose to stop people's friendships, relationships. They chose to do things that were entirely negative to people. And you think, if you were one of these people to think that this is unbecoming or not right to be doing, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. These people are entirely correct to be doing. And if Michael Collins was alive, I fully believe that he'd be on the side with the lads here doing the exact same thing. Now, again, this is something that as well too that these people in these positions are entirely afraid of, and that's why they don't know how to commemorate Michael Collins. Because when you look into the history of Michael Collins, it's something even British people will talk about, because they look at it and go, "Well, he was some bio," to say the very least. So you've seen the situation now occur, which is going to be more and more evident when election cycles come up. Because if public events like this are being held, this is why, by the way, when you see the likes of commemorating Easter Sunday, this is why they basically closed down O'Connell Street, by the way. So if you're from a different country and you're listening here, O'Connell Street was where the men and women of 1916 made a big stand against the British Empire. A big stand against the British Empire. And it is a place that is commemorated every year. However, they chose to close down that road so that they can have a little ceremony amongst themselves, because they know that people will turn up and tell them they wouldn't have stood for what you were doing. They wouldn't stand behind it at all. Now, is that democracy? You know what I mean? If you're out there, if you have a base patriot leading the country, they're not going to be concerned about anything like that. People saying to them, "You're doing wrong by the country." That's not going to happen. If you're a base patriot, you're not getting that type of stuff. But this is I think it's a real turning of the tide now. And I think it's a real moment in time where people are forgoing the odd, as they say here in Ireland, the hour gone being, turn around going, looking at you going, "You shouldn't be showing that. No, that's not nice." People are going, "Yeah, you can keep moving on there, pal, to say it politely enough. And we're going to keep playing this." And here's the thing. Even if there's a crowd of a couple of hundred here, for example, maybe 20 people, we'll just say, be conservative here, be nice. Maybe 20 people hear that message that Micheál Martin said and think to themselves, "That sounds odd." And maybe they get talking to other people. That 20 suddenly becomes 100. And then it grows and grows and grows. And this is why it's important to bring these things to reality and show people as to what's going on. I think that's a fantastic video. Troy made the right decision by resigning. O'Gorman. O'Gorman talking about people resigning. Oh my God. A pot in the kettle, lads. What? I said, the irony is staggering. Robert Troy made the right decision to resign from his position as Minister of State, according to Minister for Children, Roderick O'Gorman, of course, as well too. No further comments on that one. But what you've got here as well too is this guy is still a TD. He's just resigned from being in the front. So he's still going to be collecting massive money. It's like Derek Cleary as well too, and the whole Golfgate thing. Like, that's just forgotten about now as well too, by the way, when it comes to this. And they're trying to rehabilitate some people's public profiles as well. I think there was another article down before, and there was another radio presenter that they were like, "This fella's been out of circulation now for about 2 years over the whole incident." But what's never happened is, and what I want to know is, who was at the event in totality? Who exactly was there? Because I think that is interesting, to say the very least, because they were happy to laugh and scoff at you being kept at home, being not to see your mother or father, auntie, uncle, granny, granddad. children, whatever it might be. They were happy to scoff at you and sit down there and have no issue. And still people believed into it. So, again, like I said, you're seeing some savage wording here as well too. Comments by Roderick O'Gorman. Lads, this is another one as well too, because as I said, at the time when I did the video as well too, I said there's a very big problem with the ideologies that are here now in this country, insofar as there's an ideology that seems to be the most idiotic of all. And these are people that think that conflicting things are going to be in agreement. As I said to people before, I'm devout and indeed very much so a follower of Jesus Christ. I believe massively in God, and I believe 100% in the teachings of Jesus. You've got people here then that are not in agreement with that whatsoever and have been in agreement with it wherever they went, and inevitably cause problems. So that's an issue. And I believe that, listen, if you repent and you are going to be a follower of Jesus, then absolutely no problem. But if you don't want to take that, then no interest there. Thanks very much. But then you've got the other issue at hand, which is, as I've said to you before, you've got a religion in particular that, again, is very peaceful towards people, towards people that are attracted to the same gender. Very peaceful towards them altogether. And this group, by the way, they're attracted to the same gender. These people understand, the real ones, the real gay people, they understand what's going on. However, you've got a movement that's out there that's disguising itself as a gay group. It's disguising itself as one, and everybody knows what really that group is. So that's interesting, because that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But you've got a situation now in Ireland where you've got mixed ideologies. Again, here's the thing. Myself and the number of other people that are out there also feel the same. And I'm saying a number of other people that are older than me in other generations. I don't care. Once you're a legally consenting adult, what you do. I do not care. I do not care. If it's behind closed doors, that's happy days. I just do not care. I've no interest in your life in terms of what you do or what you like. Zero. No interest in that at all. What I do have interest in, and what I do oppose, is people that are out there now wanting to talk to various different individuals about these things. I want to publicly have it on display. No, thank you. I'm not interested in that. However, whilst I will tell you that I'm not interested in that, these guys don't think like that. It's in their book. So if you want to go and say that I'm being a negative or anything like that about people like that, it's in their book. And I can't quite understand. Again, listen, I'm trying to understand the stupid, and the stupid are very difficult to understand for someone that possesses a modicum of intellect. But I'm trying to understand where you're coming from when you're telling me that you're all for people, again, all for the gay group, which is fine. That's what you decided to be for. That's cool. But then you're for another group then that in their book are telling you to vehemently do things that are not talking natured. They're not natures of just speaking to these people. I'm telling you, from my point of view, that I don't agree with it, but that's your choice. And you're a consenting legal adult, and you go. However, you're not saying like this. So how come you're not angry about this? How come is it every time when something goes down, these people will all pivot? Again, it's the media talking point. Oh, the Catholic Church. Hang on here for a second. Everybody's saying anyone that involves themselves in attacking the little ones, we all hold that same opinion. I would agree with that one. I think we should all hold that same opinion on that one for sure. Absolutely. But we all hold it on that one. And nobody's defending anybody that's done that, basically, on whatever religion they're in. Again, myself included. That's why I've lost an awful lot of faith in the institution. Not in God, not in Jesus. In the institution. Because the institution allowed it to cover itself up, and allowed to cover these people, and allowed to move itself and these people around. So again, as I said, I have criticism for that. And indeed, I have very, very strong feelings on that. But let's not forget that this is rife through other circles here too. And I'm talking about an umbrella of all of them. Not just picking one or the other here. I'm talking about all of them, across all of them. And you should feel like that too. I'm not just selecting this one or that one. Yeah, Hollywood has been outed as well too. But like the UFC fighters there, one fella there on the weekend there, Joel, fantastic. You've got multiple other people out there like Israel Adesanya. He's been talking about it too. Great. Highlight the likes of these people. Highlight all the other institutions and other things that these people are involved in. Great. Brilliant. Anyway, coming back to this, because when I'm talking about that, the real gay community, again, are starting to realize that there's a movement that's embedding itself within the rainbow one, and they get it now. It's been a long time coming before people have realized that. We've said it for a very long time, and these people try to slither their ways into different movements. I mean, listen, you see it all the time in different things. When you see it in the likes of, you're seeing it now in political spheres as well too. You're seeing it more openly now than ever. You're seeing, for example, there's a groom thing going on here now in Ireland that's not being highlighted or talked about nearly enough. Now, again, I know it's accusations and stuff like that, and you have to tread carefully when it comes to things like that because it might not be true. However, it's seeming like that's going to be kind of swept under the rug. Again, like as I said up above there, Roderick O'Gorman talking about resigning. I mean, the irony is staggering there considering who he's connected to and who he's been pictured with, you know? Now, again, you can take a picture with somebody and it might mean nothing. However, it does mean so much to very many people when they see who he's pictured with and who he's kind of picking up for. You know what I mean? It's like when people say to you, oh, Joe was a decent fella. And I'm looking at them going, have you not seen the litany of images of that fella? Like, have you not seen any of them? Because how can you, if you want to say Donald's a bad guy, right, and you have proof of that, I'll tell you that Donald's a bad guy. I'll be full on board with you, but don't discount that this fella over here is a bad guy also then. If you want to go with that, and they're like, no, he's not a bad guy. I'm like, okay, look at the image. That's one. Here's 50. Look at them. They're all on Google, by the way. And they're like, well, I don't like Donald. You're a stupid person. You are a stupid person. And there's no correcting that. Anyway, you've got this now, which is the DPP has a massive, massive case here on their hands. And this was thrown out here the other day. And what I'm highlighting this for is because, again, this is going to be very telling insofar as what happens now in the country. Are they going to allow something like this happen? Are they going to allow something like this slide? Because if you're in the real gay community now, you should be very concerned about this. And I do believe that if this is let slide, I do think that more of the gay community are going to start waking up to this immediately. Now, I think an article like this should wake the majority of the gay community up, if they've not already been woken up, to what's going on and how they're being mistreated. So, like I said, this is common sense. It's very much so common sense. Anyone that's doing something like this, particular to innocent individuals, my area of understanding for this is if you commit something like this, you should be behind bars for a very long time, regardless of what the other person is. So, charges against this fella, Yusuf, may be struck out next month if DPP has not given directions. Charges against the man accused of these an assault causing harm to a third man may be struck out next month. Where else would you get it? Like, how... And this is the thing I think that's most concerning about this is, and I think it might start happening too, by the way, is you're going to start seeing, I think, what do I want to say? I think we're going to start seeing some commentary now from Gettr, and whether it's to publicly question this, which possibly should be a thing, allegedly, speculatively, or you're going to start seeing people talking to outlets and telling them like what's going on, what's happening here, because this should be a huge cause for concern. Like, why has this been held on to? This is a no-brainer here. If they have all of the evidence that they need, and indeed if it's enough to go for it, again, as I always say to people, innocent until proven guilty, if they have the evidence and they go to trial to it now, like, why has this been held on to? It's very strange. And again, when you've got a DPP here that's already now at this moment in time question marks around it, and people are starting to realize that, by the way, they're starting to realize who's involved, when they're involved, how they're involved, who's previously been involved. There's more and more people starting to look at it and go, that's strange. And what's odd about this situation as well too is what's happened in the last couple of years. People in the uniform and indeed in courts and indeed with the likes of DPP very zealously going against people that decided not to wear things that they were told at the outset didn't work, were reiterated it didn't work, and then all of a sudden it did work. Then as well too, against people's rights and freedoms, civil liberties. Also, no investigations done there. Very strange. And now this happens. I'd say watch this space on this one. Now, I'd say what will happen is, I would say that they will probably make a decision if there's enough of an outcry about this. But to me, like as well, Jordan, the June, like if you want to highlight your community or whatever like that, should you have not been talking in June about this? Well, no. Why not? Well, it didn't fit the profile of what we want to go with. Okay, so you want to tell people that the likes of Irish people that follow Christianity are the problem, that follow Jesus Christ are the problem, but you've got a legitimate issue that's beginning to grow here. It's grown in England, it's grown in the UK, it's grown around the world. They're very clear about what they want and what they don't like. I mean, you got to see some of the interviews that are coming out of the likes of the Middle East. Like they're very clear, you know. Like I'll jokingly say like about women and stuff like that and have the laughing at that, but like the dudes that are over there shot on the videos before where they're laughing at the idea of a woman being in an election. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's not just stuff that's just going to go away. So anyway, I hope that there is charges brought against this fella, and I hope that the DPP does something about this because there's big questions that have to be asked. But like I said, the month of June, you were all silent about it. How come? Sharp increase in Garda attempts to obtain social media users' private information. Number of Garda requests to Meta, which owns Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, increased significantly during the scam. Curiously now as well too, these guys not involved are interested in what's going on with Luke O'Neill. Not interested with what's happening with Racker, Michal Martin. Not interested in going over to the forum, what the forum is saying. Not interested in the deals that have been done that have not been disclosed to the public by Stephen Donnelly, the health service executive, and multiple individuals involved with that. Not interested in talking with Nefe. Not interested in talking with any reporters that were calling for the mandatory filling up of people of things that didn't work, that have been proven not to work, and that are now specifically allegedly causing issues. So no energy for that, but someone on Facebook saying that they don't like the current government, that's very, very bold. Like I said, only a couple of weeks ago, Luke O'Neill's on News Talk talking about how he has the monkeying around there in the lab and that the United States government are calling him up and asking him about it. Like, any interest in that, guys? Nah, like, we're more interested in fellas on these apps there saying that they don't like the government and that they should be voted out of their positions. Yeah, that's fitting with what's going on across the world. That seems legit. So, you know, here's the thing, guys. Is it important to have the 40 pieces of silver, or is it important to keep this country intact for future generations? It's up to you. Like, the thing is, as I said, law and order is exactly what I'm for, respectfully, peacefully, and all that. But, guys, you need to help people out here. You need to understand that there's people that are running the show that are not doing a good job, that have been proven not to do a good job, that have lied multiple times, and they're just continuing to do so with no law or no interest or investigation from you guys at all. Now, again, you've got the Gardaí at the moment that are pretty shored up with people headed by the PSNI. That's a huge red flag. I mean, that's a massive red flag to think about it like that. And there just seems to be zero interest in it. So again, like I said, it's very suspect because I haven't seen anything myself up online. I haven't seen any of the alleged things that have been sent to these people because, like I say to people all the time, you know, if anyone says something ridiculous or anything like that towards the channel, I always screenshot it and I put it up and I laugh about it and I show people and I'm like, look at this here. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I do. But these politicians that have Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all that, they all can't seem to screenshot, take pictures of. And I mean, like, you know, what was that movie that they did that in where they put up it was a scary movie or something like that, where they had like a piece of paper and they stuck words from different articles. Like, not even any of that, like, you know what I mean? So I don't believe it unless I see it a lot of the times. And when you're not seeing anything like that these people are talking about in these articles, I'm tending not to believe what they're saying either. What I do think is, again, you know, no rights to privacy here and anything like that. And like I'm saying to people as well too, you're in the territory now as well too of internet technology increasing, and these companies in particular, this one company, are very negative. As I said here, get rid of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Join Gap. You've also there as well too called Signal. There's another app as well too. It's encrypted. So if you want to speak to each other, that's fine. Again, they'll highlight Telegram in this one as well too, obviously. But the thing is that these apps that they're mentioning here are gathering information. They are gathering whatever they please, and this is what they're for. This is why these things are free. I mean, this is why the likes of the cheese and the trap is free for the rat. it's there for a reason, and this is what we're getting to see now at this stage of the game, which is these things are free. There's another one that's had to been put out there recently. I think it's $4.99. I think the app is. It was highlighted on the terminal list. I must look into that one. I think it's released by Amazon now, so that does have some question marks around that on that one, I would say. But Signal, from what I understand, is quite good. I don't know, maybe someone that's involved in technology knows a little bit more than me than that one, but it's just from what I understand. But this is giving you a clear indication, like, get off these things, because, and this, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying get off these things to say anything radical or ridiculous or anything like that. Now, I mean, even though you see radical and ridiculous things being said on these things all of the time, what I'm saying is just get off them, because they're no good. And join other places then that are more than willing and more than happy to have you and have free speech and have you been involved in there. And like I said, Gab is another place as well too that's not endorsing threats or anything like that. It's very, very clear about that from Andrew Torba. Very clear indeed. And that's what I'm saying to you. What you can do is you can share information on a place like this, and you don't have to be at those other places. Promote Gab, come over here then and join it and involve as many people as you know with it. And then you're not looking at situations like this where your private information is being accessed and being used here for nonsensical things. Like I said, you've got Luke O'Neill publicly saying on News Talk that he had the monkeying around stuff that the United States government were in touch with him about, but there's no energy being sent and spent on that. Now, this also leads into what I've also been talking about, which is grassroots positions and indeed people applying for things and engaging in politics and engaging in councillors and TDs. Because at this moment, what you have is people that are running the ship that are very bad captains, co-captains, and indeed people that are on deck. What I'm saying is, you need a new captain, you need a new co-captain, you need new people on deck. And the way you do that is by electing these people and not electing these other people. And that's how you start to clean things up. And unfortunately, what you've got now is people that are loyal to the coin instead of going, actually, what's right and what's moral and what's just here. Well, it's not the fellas that are on the likes of Instagram saying that this government are very negative. It's actually the governments that have overseen the worst self-deletion percentage of all time. It's the government that's overseeing a catastrophic amount of passings now at this stage. It's also the government that's overseeing GAA players keeling over. It's also the government as well too that's overseeing many issues that we have in this country. You know what I mean? And ultimately, as I keep saying to people, the cause and effect of these things, I'm not endorsing or supporting, and I want to say disavow anyone that's sending threats towards these people or anything like that. But you're not doing any favors for anyone here when you're not doing the job that you're supposed to be entrusted for, which is, if these people weren't doing negative things to the public of Ireland, I don't think that if there's allegedly things being made, these things wouldn't be made. You're not always going to get a safe and sane society. Like I said to people as well too before, you've got people out there that are fruitcakes that will call you an istaphob and all that, and you're the furthest thing from it. Absolutely the furthest thing from it. But they still hold that opinion because they're not all there. You know what I mean? That's what you're going to get, okay? But what you need to do is you need to have people in these positions of high-profile positions and making the right choices. Like, that's simple to me, cause and effect thing. If you've got someone that's in there that's doing a great thing for this country, that's working it out, and people are all happy, you're going to have a happy country then. But it's again, as I keep saying to people, it's like the fan blaming. It's like now at the moment you've got Marvel Studios blaming fans for not liking She-Hulk. They've put out a shit product. The product is shit, and people are saying that product is shit. So what the company is doing, along with the actors, is going, you're wrong. Now, hang on here for a sec. That's a very bad product, and we know what She-Hulk is like, but we know what to expect. That's not it. There's a better story that could have been used. You didn't use it, and instead what you've done is you've destroyed the Hulk in the process. And the same thing applies to politics. Hey guys, we don't currently like what you're doing. The price of food, petrol, bread, milk, everything like that, it's going up. Electricity, gas. People are basically going to be having hand to mouth, food to mouth, whatever it might be, the phrase. And that's all you're going to get then. People working to just basically survive, not to live. There's a big difference between surviving and living. And that is preventable. That is also correctable, I think. And I think it's something that needs to happen. And so you going and accessing people's data to try and say, don't be talking out against these people. Well, I do not agree with that whatsoever, because these people are right to have an opinion. And indeed, here's the thing: if you're in uniform, you're coming under the you're coming under the same problems that everybody else is. The price of electricity and gas is going up for you. It's going up for you in the shops when you're buying stuff. Your petrol's going up. You might be from Mullingar or whatever like that, and you're commuting to Dublin to do your job, and it's costing you a fortune. So, like, at what point do you look at that and say to yourself, yeah, listen, the guys that are interested in saying, like, sort the country out, think they might be right. Think they might be right to be running for this. Because here's the thing, guys, like, it's not going to be long with the current way things are going, because you've seen it happen in America. The same thing is going on here. You're seeing political persecution. This is exactly what you're seeing. Because in a free and open and democratic society, as I keep saying to people as well too, I've put out the call multiple times as well too on the channel when I've made the video and all that, and I said, okay, if you have an opposing video to me, like I did with the versatile and Erica Cody thing, come on and talk. Never reached out, she didn't. Nobody that I've talked about reached out. It's always been open. Come on and talk. Because you can't stand over what you've done. And that's the same thing with these people. That's why they go on to news talk, because they're safe. And when I say safe, what I mean by that is there's no unscripted questions. There's no difficult questions. There's no questions that are coming from the reality and real person. Claire Bourne isn't worrying about price of milk. She's not worrying about the price of gas or electricity. She doesn't give a fiddlers. But you and I do, because it's directly affecting you and I. So that's what's needed in this country, is more people that are real people going for these positions. And it needs to start, and it needs to start immediately, because the sooner it starts, the better it is. And you are going to weather a storm. There is a storm that's happening as well too, when people and their positions, like they are now at the moment, are becoming untenable and are becoming increasingly more difficult to justify what they're doing. It's nice to see the media as well too, finally given a fair shake and saying things, but in the same breath then as well too, they're saying things are really bad, guys, and at the same time then they're telling there's a rise of what's called a far right. What is that? Define that. You talking about the old women, the old men, the people of different races that are working here in this country, the people of both genders, the people of all ages that are turning up to these protests that are unhappy with the cost of living? You're calling them far right? What are you talking about? And if so, then if you're talking and complaining about the price of things, you can't turn around then and say, oh, well, they're the problem. They're not the problem. I'm not making public decisions. I'm not the one involved in the budget. No one consulted me. No one consulted me or you to spend $3 billion on people coming in and out of the country. They just found that pocket change on the back of a sofa, by the way, out of nowhere. Then they're telling you there's a new tax bans that they want to bring in, instead of just cutting the USC, which you give people a lot more money in their own pocket. They're prohibiting and shouting down increases in people's wages, which is leading to an exodus in the country. Like, there's a lot of simple things that need to be done here. And again, like I said, when you quantify it and you think about $3 billion, it's just there on a whim to bring people into the place. Like, if you're in these positions, you need to come out now and start saying to people, like, hang on here for a second, something's not right. 71 million has gone missing for the last couple of years. They don't know what they spent it on. And we don't know what they spent it on. So you need to look at that. 3 billion has suddenly been found to bring people into place. And now there's criminality and problems that are happening. And here's the thing, and again, it's something that's becoming more of a topic as well too, this quiet quitting. And as I said last week as well too, people that are more inclined to do less and just get paid. That's what's happening across all these professions. And listen, like with the Gardaí and stuff like that, I understand to a point. I understand that you're happy to stand around and have a speed camera and you're hanging there and you're having a good day of it, rather than going down to a perceived difficult area with difficult people and you don't know what's going to happen to you. I get that. But should you not then be looking at the current system and say, well, the Justice Minister isn't helping us out here, the judicial reform that's needed for people to take this actually serious, and the means with which that we need to deal with this isn't being given to us, and we're understaffed, and we don't have enough people. And not only that now, but during the last 2 years when we were getting haircuts in the stations that we were coming around and knocking on people's doors telling them not to do, by the way, you're being told on then to the media. So, I don't know. It's certainly very interesting. I mean, if you were giving me the run of the thing tomorrow, if I'd run the place tomorrow, I'd be saying, okay, right, the judicial reform is on. We're going to increase Gardaí and they're going to deal with crime. And maybe you could even look at statistics of, hey, I'd rather you deal with that over there. Rather, see the likes of the road stuff and all that, is putting up cameras and all that, because here's the other thing that these people don't realise, by the way. When they're putting more CCTV and road cameras up, that's less of a job for you. They don't really need you anymore. So you become the old social worker and that now. And you're seeing it across the world. They've just done it in different ways. But the end means is still the same, which is less of you, more problems, and then everyone just blames people that are like, hang on here for a second. We should actually have people to deal with these situations. You know what I mean? Look at how you were treated, by the way, if you're in uniform, over the George situation. I mean, this channel and numerous other channels were telling you that you were right in what you were doing. We supported you. But look at the political people and the people in the media that didn't. And then as well too, what happened outside your station. Like, that was all endorsed. Yet the likes of me then is saying, hey, listen, that shouldn't be happening whatsoever. That's absolutely out of order. You talk to your own L-boy and stuff like that, and he's telling you then, when he grew up, if a guard came down the road and the guard from our bike and told you to go home, you went home. And then, I mean, different times as well too, because there might have been a couple of issues there and the lads might have been doing things as well too. But the thing was, society was in check. Everything was cool. Everything was all good. And this is why you see people and the panic from people, by the way, and you're starting to see it now. A comment that I'm seeing an awful lot across the internet now is, you wanted to return to the 1950s. But I tell you what, they had much less problems in the 1950s. And when you're talking about studios now that are reverting back to types of pleasing people, like I seen an article today there that said Warner Brothers Discovery is now interested in pleasing middle America. Yeah, that's because that's where the money's at, and that's how they're going to get money from. Like, it doesn't matter what movie you put out. Like, Detroit ain't going to that movie. Like, I mean, do they even have cinemas now at this stage because of all of the stuff that's gone on there? Do you know what I mean? But anyway, what you need is a hand here. And as I keep saying to people, I'm not delighted with the job that's been done in the last couple of years. However, the hand is always there. And as I keep saying to people, if you're a follower of Jesus as well too, surely at this point in time, you realize what's gone on for the last 2 years was morally wrong, unjust, and indeed, hopefully, at some stage, investigations might start into people that have been pulling the strings. I mean, a person on Instagram and Facebook saying things that have gone on is wrong isn't running the show. It's the people that are running the show that are causing the issue. Suspected car thief who left 9-month-old baby on side of the road was on bail at the time. A man arrested in relation to the theft of a car with the baby in it was on bail at the time. I said, never did I think Gordon would become like a video game. NYC has real competition. This is the same thing that's going on in New York, and it's basically like Grand Theft Auto, where people are just respawning. They're, issue with it, bang, respawn. And again, this is what I'm talking about with Gardaí as well too. Like, I would rather that person that's on bail not be on bail. They should be in jail, from what I understand. You know what I mean? And that helps you out, because then you're not going out chasing around this thing and this causing massive problems. Judicial system's in awful state. And like I said, if people out there, but even as we're talking about Yusuf there as well, that they're stalling on a decision with that. Like, if you were outside your 5K in the last couple of years, these people were vehemently going after people. These people were going after the medical licenses of people that were speaking out, going, no, something doesn't feel right here. And which companies are involved? These companies with very negative criminal histories. Not sure about this one, guys. And now you've got another issue that's coming up. I'll show you now later on. But you've got some interesting things that are happening now. And I think now it's coming to a time where people accepted PC, they accepted lies. It's now going to swing right back, and people are starting to tell the truth a lot more. Like, here's the thing, and I said it as well too. I have I have a review coming out of the United game against Liverpool. Like, Cristiano Ronaldo approaching the commentary team is unheard of. Players are criticised by these people in the media, and very rarely do they actually come over. But Ronaldo stepped over on a live broadcast and told them what he thought. It was awesome to see. And like I said, the more and more people that are coming out and doing things like that, the better. New cost of living blows 360,000 homes facing an increase in bin charges in Ireland. So not only is your gas and electricity going up, your bin charges are going up. And then they're shouting out in there last week or the week before saying to you that water, Irish water. Yeah, you live in Ireland, surrounded by water, that rains most of the year. You can go on off there now. Pay is an increase to match this. Winter months would be interesting. Public mood is shifting. One of the largest waste collection companies in the country is to impose double-digit price rises on households from next month. I mean, October, November is going to be really interesting here, guys. And I mean that from the point of view of, like, you're going to see people that are really unhappy. I mean, we're at an all-time low here. All-time low. People can't buy homes. People can't rent. People are now going abroad. There's a call out now from people to have a Dublin, what is it, a Dublin allowance now. That's what they have in London, as far as I know. That's not great. That's not a great start to anything, is it? Not only that now, you've got the waste. Companies are seeing the gap in the market now to do whatever they want, along with the electricity and the gas one. This doesn't last long. It really doesn't. And people are looking for an election already. That's what I'm talking about. People are looking for elections. But I mean, to me, changing the election candidates and indeed changing the governments now with Sinn Féin, it's not going to reward people with anything good. They're more the same. More the same. This is a hilarious one. I'm not even going to read it because these things and these places are funny. But look at that. Oh, it's all coming up now. And this is one of the worst ones, by the way. And this gang here as well, too. It's going to be interesting to see that. That's hilarious. Germany to rethink gas levy after outcry over energy profits. Germany is looking at restricting the companies to benefit from a new gas levy, just to those that really need the assistance with the scrutiny following. So there's protests. Protests are happening in Germany. And they're like, nah, I'm not having this. And they're right. It's invasive. Noise everybody speaks out against being sneakily filmed in public. The Late Late Show host says he will always agree to a picture with someone, but hates when people film on the dart or in the queue at the airport. I says you didn't mind being forced to use QR codes to gain entry into places. Didn't have an issue with that one at all. Sure, you didn't. Breaks my heart to see how lawless it's become. Readers' comments on antisocial behaviour in Dublin. We asked readers for their views on antisocial behaviour in Dublin City Centre. Here's a selection of the responses. I said that Ireland is turned into Gotham. Rampant criminality because of the poor example and behaviour being set by our alleged leaders. I mean, if you're looking at the current situation, you see what Robert Troy is doing, you've seen what Leo Varadkar's doing, you've seen what Micheál Martin's doing, you've seen what Eamon Ryan's doing, and you're looking around at that, of course you're going to get that type of result because you're not looking at someone that's interested in law and order. You're not interested in the rights and the freedoms of the people. And as I said before, it's quite interesting to see, and you've seen a slowdown in the talk about it, which is interesting too as well, too, about Daniel Kinahan. You're looking at it going, well, Daniel Kinahan never impeded on my rights, freedom, civil liberties. Do we agree with what he does? Do we support it? Absolutely not. But you've got people now that are supposed to be setting an example that have set a very poor example and are continuing to do so. There's no resignation. I mean, the Robert Troy resignation is just a just cause. There was no resignation from Leo Varadkar. No resignation now from Micheál Martin when all this evidence is coming out through the CSO, 183 for the last 2 years. All comorbidities. So this is all coming to a head, and very much so. People, and when I say coming to a head, I mean peacefully, respectfully, lawfully. People are not understanding what's going on because now what you've got is problems at a local level, but also problems at a bigger level. And this is eventually where it's going to turn back towards. They're going to look at the Justice Minister. They're going to look then at the likes of the guards. They're going to look at who's in charge and they're saying to themselves, well, nobody's helping us out here. And when you've got antisocial behaviour that's happening like this, that it's intensifying, it's because these people have no fear. And they've no fear because the laws are lax. And the reason why the laws are lax is because the people that are allegedly running the place, speculatively, by the way, if anything happens with them, then they're looking at very little time. You know? So this is why you're seeing the lax nature of what's happening here. But the lax nature of it is just going to intensify, but it's going to entice. And you're already seeing it, and you're already going to see it entice baddies to come here because they're going to go, sure, that's grand over there. You know? Not good. Paul Reid to step down as HRC CEO in October, 2 months earlier than expected. Reid was due to stay on the road until December. Wonder what's going on in November. Oh, yeah, that's right. This fella will be in jail, at the very least, in my opinion, amongst others. You know, Tony Houlihan, Neffe. You've got people in the HSE there as well. We've got people in government that should be in jail, in my opinion. And this is something that's, I think, is reflective of what's happening in America. And like I said, sometimes ripples and shockwaves happen to do from other countries, in particular America, and it inevitably ends up here. Because what's going to happen, by the way, when you turn around to people, and as I said last week there, when you've got articles that are coming out now being like, looks like the last 2 years, guys, everything that the people with the tinfoil hats on were saying was true. What are you going to do? What's going to happen? because that's what's happened. It's happening because I'm talking to people that were full in on this in the last 2 years, by the way, and they're on my side now. They won't vocalize it, some of them, but they're starting to get it. They're starting to be like, yeah, that was a big cod. And I'm like, I know, I told you it was a big cod. And then you give them the spoiler alerts. I always love giving spoilers. I'm like, guess what will happen in 6 months' time? They're like, what? I'm like, that's going to happen. And then sometimes it's pushed ahead and they're like, holy shit, how did you know about that? And now they've like finger on the pulse. That's very interesting anyway, to say the least. But yeah, this fella's skirting off, and as I said, it's linking away now because they think now, and I mean, this is the way these people think. They think if I'm not in the public eye, people are going to forget about me. But that's why you see the guys like in America, like Rand, going, no, it doesn't matter if you slink off. We're going to come back to this now. You make sure you don't step outside this country. We don't want you leaving here. And get your documents and your papers ready there, place there now, Anthony. Good lads. Like, that's all happening. And if there's a major swing in November, like, I'm going to have the popcorn out in America. You know what I mean? My full support behind America doing the right thing now in November. But holy moly, if they do the right thing and then that starts to move itself across the world, I think you're going to see some fascinating things. Because with the people like this guy stepping down, don't forget as well too, Tony Holohan stepped down as well too. What's going to happen and what these fellas don't understand, because they're not politically aware, by the way, I don't think, and the same with Anthony in America, what's going to happen is the politician is going to turn around and go, he told me to do that. And then they're goosed. They're in trouble. So watch the movement of these people as well too. Like, I wouldn't be shocked to see some of these people moving to a different country. I wouldn't be shocked to see Anthony moving to a different country where there's specific laws or anything like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see Paul Reid retire to somewhere else. Wouldn't be surprised to see Tony Holohan retire somewhere else. Now, the likelihood of someone basically holding these people accountable here in this country right now is fairly low, considering what you've seen with the Supreme Court in recent months. I think it's very low. However, if you start to see public movement and public sentiment move towards, hey guys, we start to realise that this data is not looking good for these guys and we're going to keep talking about it, but then something needs to happen. Otherwise, and again, as I keep saying to people, and people are saying to me, like, they can't wait to talk to politicians at the door because they have the facts, the figures, the stats, the statistics, and they're going to then say to them, yeah, you knew all about this. Well, if I knew about that, if this Gonzo production knew about this 3 months ago, you certainly did. Or else you're just totally unaware, which is not good enough either. Because I'm just some Gonzo production and I seem to know an awful lot. But these people that are in these high-level positions seem to know very little. It's very odd, isn't it? Like, wouldn't you think that these people would be briefed and told about everything? Or at the very least, keep their finger on the pulses when it comes to these things. They seem to be... And again, this plausible deniability thing is starting to go away from these people too, because what's happening is the electorate have emailed these people these statistics, these data-driven facts, and the articles, and now they've received them. And indeed, you're seeing some people hand-deliver them. You know, you've seen even Philip doing videos as well too of him entering in and looking to speak with the Minister for Justice, Helen McEntee, because he's going and saying, here, what do you think about the rampant criminality in this country and likes of Chico and McCamden and that walking around? What do you reckon about that? Huh? Like, these type of things now are starting to come around. So, interesting to see the very least, but they're all scarping. There you go. He's going down from the US government to pursue next phase of career. That's where I hope he goes next. He's leaving his post in December, having served in the government for almost 4 decades. He became the face of America's response. Now, this is a fellow, by the way, that'll be viewed very negatively in future. He's very negatively viewed now as it is. And I mean, with his job, when he comes out and talks shit about information, his job is to tell you lies, in my opinion, my humble opinion. That is his job. And it is the job, and has been the job, of various other individuals out there to tell you lies. And why would they tell you lies? Well, it's so they can contradict and move with an argument that they want to go with, rather than people saying, as they correctly did the first couple of weeks that this all came out, hang on here, he was wrong about that thing there back in the 80s. This thing here seems very similar to what happened in the 80s. It's zoonotic too. It's transferred from humans to animals and animals to humans. What's the symptoms? Runny nose, headache. That's very similar, isn't it? Very odd. And then he became political. Because as soon as Donald was out the door, it was all, science. You didn't listen to the science. Like, you're looking at him going, hang on here, Hoggle. He looks like Hoggle from that movie, Labyrinth. Hang on here, Hoggle. You were out here talking about these things. You flipped. 10 years ago, you did a talk there talking to people about the flu and telling them that if they got the flu, they didn't need anything after that because they were all sorted, and the thing just gets stronger and it comes back. And that's what your system is for. 10 years later, then, you're out there going, you got to take them off. You take 4 of them. Take two masks. And what he's done is, he has now, along with the rest of them, has now enabled people to have serious questions surrounding the medical profession. And indeed, those questions and attitudes are being really pushed towards the medical profession. Like, as I said there's a number of people that I know that are indeed questioning the medical profession to their faces. And the shock and, what can I say, as these people have been telling me, the wide-eyedness of these people is something to behold, according to them, because they said like these people just do not expect this at all. They do not expect questions. They do not expect you to have information. They do not expect this. So when you are very much so well versed in what you're talking about and having those facts and figures, they just do not know what to say, other than the prescribed. Here's what I've been told to say. Here's the parroting thing. Here's what I say. I mean, it's like ringing up, your internet provider and telling them, listen, the internet's not working. You get the same shit every time. Turn it off, turn it back on. Yeah, I did that. I think I didn't do that. Unplug it from the wall, plug it back in. Yeah, I did that too. Okay, yeah, well, I'm just trying to troubleshoot here. Now, I'm telling you it's not working. Like, I know it's not working. We just need to do this and that. Okay, so what are you going to tell me next now? To unplug this and unplug that, flicker off in the back, flicker back on. Yeah. See how I know that? And then they get touchy with you. They're like, there's no need to have an attitude. I'm like, listen, I don't have an attitude. What I'm telling you is I've done all of this. I know all of this. And you're telling me the same things. And it's wrong. But this is on a much more different scale than your internet not really working. This is coming down to a massive problem. And the way they treat people. Like, this cannot be a time in history. I'll be honest with you, right? I'll be very honest with you when I say this. I used to think growing up, I was like, you see, like, reeling in the years there, and you see all the scandals that happen, and I'm like, that's mad, isn't it? And they've all done scandals, and scandals happen seemingly every year. Weird unknown. And then I used to think to myself, I'd be like, yeah, you talk about, like, the war wars and stuff like that in Vietnam and all these things and civil stuff and all that, and you're like, yeah, I'm living through a time where not much history is going on. And then, obviously, September 11 happens, and you're looking and going, jeez, you see what's happening there then. You're like, all right, that's very scary, and you got to leave it there. And then everything else, things started to come out about that, and you're like, not sure about that. And then you're going, all right, real history is made then, in particular the last 2 years, because it affected the entire world. And then you realize then very quickly, hang on here for a second, they seem to have things prepared really quickly here. This seems like it was planned up. Oh, these dates from back 2018. Oh, they did a run through in 2019, did they? And the people that are involved in it as well too are involved in the likes of Xboxes. Xboxes, they've had problems in the past with how they function. And the fellow that's involved with that suddenly knows everything about all of this. That's way off. Oh, celebrities are talking about this now? All right. And then what's happened is a culmination of things like have now, again with the internet, spread into, right, there's a massive problem here now. And once, as I said before, you see the backstage of the Truman Show, you can't unsee it. But all you can do is you can show more and more people the backstage of the Truman Show, and let it go from there. Because you can't keep going on. Eamon Ryan orders councils to spend unclaimed 129 million fund for bike lanes and walkaways. 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 Councils told to identify big impact walking and cycling projects deliverable within 2 years. Right, okay. 129 million fund for bike lanes and walkways. Are we having a laugh here? Like, you have an energy crisis, as they like to call it. They call everything a crisis now. Like, the word crisis now means nothing to me anymore, and it means nothing to you now, I'm sure, too, because I'm preaching to the choir here. The crisis word means nothing anymore because they use it for everything. But 129 million has been allocated for bike lanes and walkways. Take that back there and start divvying it amongst the population, and or buying up a bigger stake in some of these electrical and gas companies, so that what you can do is you can keep the prices low. Nah, we'll spend it on bike lanes and walkways. Why? Like, that's ludicrous. But again, like I said, nearly 130 million there being absolutely wasted on things like this. Wasted. Stupidity. I mean, here's the thing. Again, I keep saying it every week. I don't know anybody that's voted for this party. I don't know anybody that votes for any of these individuals. I've not had one comment on the channel. Now, I mean, I've had joke comments on the channel that have been like, oh, I voted for them, ha. But no serious comment been like, yeah, no, I voted for these people. And if you know someone that votes for these people, please talk to them. And, you know yourself. But nonsense. How to get out the door in the morning with young kids. And as I said here, the author is white, but the stock photo used is not. Isn't that weird? Bethan O'Riordan is helping to make parenting simpler and less overwhelming by answering your questions and sharing practical tips. Can't what? But like, isn't that strange? Like, why are you using a stock photo like that then? Like, that's very peculiar, isn't it? I think that's strange. Anyway, rising Albanian asylum seekers may be down to criminal gangs. Albanian gangs controlling the UK trade offer minibus trip and channel crossing for £4,000 on TikTok. Where do you think they're going? Where do you think they are going? Now, here's the thing I'll give you a laugh about, right? TikTok was the first one to do it, by the way, which says a lot. Talking about him before, Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate was banned from TikTok. Now, as I've said and correctly have identified amongst other people out there, like Crowder as well too, that this is a company that the Chinese government have 2 seats on. Very odd, isn't it? And they chose then to remove Tate, but not this. Not this, though. They've removed Tate for comments. Right. So what's the problem? Well, you're afraid of masculinity making a comeback. That's what it is. But criminal activity here, nah, guys, no problem. No problem. I said, yes, Golfgate, 2 years since his return was cancelled after Golfgate. Sean O'Rourke has a new show on RT. Yes, Golfgate, where they laughed at the people while they stuffed themselves. And this is a thing of like, put it out the eye for the time being and come back. You know? Vicky Phelan gushes about fabulous staycation alongside husband and son. Said the promo about this woman is off the charts. But they're not telling us there last December that this woman's on her way out. Like, and listen, here's the thing. My deepest condolences and sympathies, and indeed my biggest support to anybody that's gone through this, and indeed this woman too. But I find the promotion that surrounds this woman to be very strange. It is very odd, and the way they report on it is very odd. And indeed, considering what's gone on with her and her own life and who's involved in that, it's very strange to see that she's not saying much about it at all, to say the very least. Dublin startup Weave quits costly capital for Barcelona. Dublin skyrocket in rents have forced Trinity neuroscience graduate Evan McLaughlin and his childhood friends to decamp to Barcelona to launch their language learning. I said, when's the protest? Oh no, just heading abroad. Nice one. Nice one there, lads. Fair play to you. So you've done the same thing as the rest of the gang and you've decided to go, it's too expensive here, so I'm off somewhere else. Why not stay? Why not stay and say, hang on here for a second, guys, it's way too expensive for us because of what's happening here in this country, and this country has not been treated well enough, it's not been treated good enough, and indeed, we're going to make a change. Nah, we're off. Like, mad stuff. Absolutely mad stuff. Really is. Germany approves rules to turn down the lights and heat this winter. With the incoming rules, the German government hopes to reduce gas usage by around 2% because they keep messing about with your man that's over there to run the show instead of just calling it a day and saying, right, lads, we've actually made a mess here. Like, any sensible individual now, because the media are still keeping it going. Most people have forgotten about what's happening, but they're happy to swallow the price hikes there. But what you've got is now, you've got a situation that's still occurring over there rather than people collectively sitting together. I think that's why November will be interesting. Like, stop sending them money, stop giving them shit, and it'll end fairly soon. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is very, very much so being highlighted, and the protests that happen in Germany are quite large too. On 2 occasions, this was a country left to be a country by the world, is what I said, and they're all messing about. Andrew Tate, the social media influencer teachers are warned about. With more than 14 million followers on Instagram before his account was banned, Andrew Tate has become infamous for his opinions that you don't agree with, and the opinions you don't agree with comments. So this is a guy, by the way, mixed race, by the way. They've banned the mixed race guy, guys. You know, let's be PC about this one. They've banned the mixed race guy, folks, from talking. Now, you think about the amount of individuals that are on these various platforms that are saying outrageous things, and I mean outrageous things. Like, I'm talking about talking to specific people about specific things and trying to encourage them to do things that result in a very big profit for certain companies, but not being talked about by these individuals. They're happy to go along with the Lions. But anyway, you've got multiple other people that are on these social media, and this is why this is a fascinating story. It's a fascinating story because, again, I think it was the Irish Mirror, or possibly even the Mirror in the UK. Again, I can't quite remember which one, but there certainly was a story that was a bit nervous. And the way they posted it, I have the screenshot of it. I must do a video on it. The screenshot that I had, it was like they found what he was saying, the content of what he was saying, troubling because people might listen to it. So just think about that for a second. The same sides that are telling you to take things without any sort of prior information, telling you to just listen, to shut up and listen, to telling you that you couldn't live a life or anything like that, telling you you're naughty for thinking that you're in previous years, in the last 100, 200 years, when invasions are happening, not to look at that, not to highlight that, not to be worried about that. Not to think about that at all. Again, no borders are no problem, guys, but these people then that are running the place all have massive security, and indeed people that are there that are looking after them 24/7. Bit conflicting there now, if you ask me. But opinions. Now, it's no surprise to see the maneuvers that were made on this guy, because it began on TikTok, from what I understand. Then it happened on Facebook. Then it happened on Instagram, because Facebook and Instagram are linked. And then it happened then on YouTube, where they didn't want this guy on it anymore. Now, the allegations that are being made about him now at the moment are that he said things that these people perceived to be very naughty, and that he had said something towards women. Now, the woman involved has come out and said it was just a joke. So the woman who was involved in the situation is like, no, they were only messing, we were only joking about that. And what they've done is they've taken what this fella said out of context, and they've used it to spin a narrative, but it's not working, because people have listened to what he said and have said, yeah, this fella seems to know what's going on here. Seems to be able to speak about. And I mean, here's the thing. But, he has the Hustlers University and all that. And you see other YouTubers that have made videos on that, and they think it's very naughty and negative. The thing is, like, it's up to you if you want to spend your money on that or if you don't. I mean, like I said before, the Star Wars team, the Transformers team can promote things. The Power Rangers team can promote things to me, but I won't buy it, because I'm like, nah, that doesn't interest me. I'm not interested in giving me money. I'm not forced to do anything here. And again, what you're saying is an opinion here that wasn't shared amongst these people. And what happened is he gained influence and attention. And what these people are very concerned about is young men, boys as well too, listening to guys like Tate, listening to guys like Rogan, but they want you to listen to guys like Ethan Klein. You know what I mean? They want you to listen to these guys that are very much so. No, I mean, this fella's a kickboxing champion. Let's be honest about this. Kickboxing champion in fantastic shape, has a good amount of wealth behind him, drives multiple supercars, lives a very good lifestyle. And like I said, is top of his game there, kickboxing. You're not to listen to him, but you have to listen to Luke O'Neill. Right. You have not to listen to him, but you have to listen to people that are cosplaying as Mrs. Doubtfire. Right. You see what I'm starting to say to you? And you see what I mean by the likes of TikTok and all being negative? And I mean, here's the thing. I'm sure that this fella won't be fussed being off the likes of these platforms, because, I mean, if he's going to keep going with what he's doing, he should come across to here, or indeed Gettr, and that's where he'll probably go next, because he'll be like, well, I'm going to go over there and keep doing what he's doing, because people will seek him out. And that will give a good bump to these profiles. And indeed, these, again, as I keep saying, the more people that join over these places, the better. Because what they do is they bring more eyes towards here, and then people will forget the previous place and go, yeah, we're all heading over here. But ultimately, what's going on is this fella's opinions are causing upset, and people not wanting to know about them at all. Again, the same people that are happy to force their ridiculous, nonsensical opinions upon you in the last number of years, and are continuing to do so. So this is the machine, yet again, trying to do something, but instead what it's going to do is it's going to cause a Streisand effect, which is going to be everyone's going to hone in on this fella. Who is this guy? What's he saying? And I'm going to check him out and see what he's saying. And look, I'm not saying you're going to agree with all of it. I'm not saying that you're going to be madly in love with this fella and what he's saying. what I'm saying to you is when you listen to what he says, a lot of points that he's making are very good points. Some of it he'll say something kind of a bit out there, and the reason is so he hooks more people in. That's what it's about. And some of it then is just a man being a man, which is being funny. However, this is deemed not possible on these platforms. Very interesting, isn't it? But yet, like I said, you've got other people that are out there that are making statements that are just nonsensical. I mean, you had Luke O'Neill in a plastic ball on the Claire Bourne show, and he was like, "This is going to be the new normal." You're like, "What? What are you talking about?" But what's interesting as well too is in this here from Sky.com is it says teachers are now concerned about this. They're concerned about their male students returning and talking about Tate, and they're concerned about him and what his message is. And what they are doing here in the article is they're encouraging eavesdropping and spying. So that's what this woman that's here in this article is saying. She's saying we'd encourage people to be listening to the conversations of their pupils and to prevent this. You see what I mean? So what you've got now is you've got a situation now at hand as well too where these activists now are in positions like that. And that's why you're seeing more and more articles, which I showed you last week there, of people doing the likes of homeschooling. You think the stuff that's going on in America is a laugh. Wait until you see what's going to be happening across here, because these type of people now are in these places. And as you've seen for the last number of years, happy to go along with nonsense. So the likes of this guy as well too, it's going to be no surprise when you see these wokies coming out and saying, let's not talk about him. Why not though? If you think he's wrong and what he's saying, refute his points. And a lot of points that he's making as well too when it comes to women and stuff like that. This is things, and these are values that are held in the Middle East there. You know what I mean? Like some of the things that he's saying are very much so held in the Middle East to a much higher point in regard. Some of the stuff he's saying is just basic, you know? And to me, very interesting. Very interesting to see that they've chosen to ban a mixed race individual from platforms because of things he was saying, because he was gathering influence, he was gathering attention, and more people were looking at it going, I agree with that fella. And it's a breath of fresh air rather than seeing someone coming out and saying, this is Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, and you're like, soy Hulk. Yeah, that's not good. And then you've this guy going out there going, this is what men are, and you're like, yeah. You've got this article here I'll show you. Watch. The roles of Tralee is embarrassing and has a serious lack of diversity. Did the black girl not win that last year? Did she not win that last year? And when I say, like, she was from South Africa. She was born in South Africa, wasn't she? Did she not win that last year? I remember last year I did when I was on Twitter at the time, by the way, I quote tweeted a woman and I put 4 pictures up before the women that lost out on the Rouse of Tralee. Beautiful looking ladies. And actually, I think it was 3. And the one who actually won it, the one who won it was the least attractive out of the 4 of them. And that's just a man's opinion, okay? Now, as I've said before, and these people all try to say, it's because of her skin color. Listen, I told you before that Kimberly Classic is a fantastic looking woman. I've told you before that there's multiple other women, even the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Have you seen the wife in that one? She is very, very nice. The woman that should be playing Captain Marvel as well too. What's her name? Paris, I think, or something like that is her name. She's fantastic looking as well too. Is it? Yeah, that's one. She's in WandaVision. Fantastic looking lady. So it's got nothing to do with that. And I mean, the multiple other women that are out there in the world, obviously. But you had the least attractive from an objective point of view that had won the competition, which we'll see in the picture now down below in a few months, that won the competition. And there was absolute 10 out of 10s that didn't win it. Now, this is a competition that, from what I understand, is based majority on looks. Beauty pageant. And when you have a person that wins a beauty pageant that isn't the most attractive, question marks will be asked. Now, again, as I said there last week, the Rose of Tralee, Dahi O'Shea was saying that they should see a trans person involved in the Rose of Tralee. I'll just let you sit on and stew on that one. But very, very weird comments to make. And again, you know, you're talking about diversity. It's not that, like, you want to put a man into a woman's competition and then for the man to win. Like, what do you get out of that? Like, what do women get out of that? You know what I mean? And there's an attack as well, too, on femininity and women, because now they're being... And what's happened over the last number of years, particularly with like reality TV, they're being conflated with and linked in with men and lads' behaviour. Like as I said last week, the ladette behaviour, you know, I can drink 5 points and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be with the lads. Yeah, that's grand. Okay. But you're not marriage material, love. Like, I wouldn't go near you. You know, they're a great laugh, and we'll have a good time. But putting a ring on it, no thanks, absolutely no. You know what I mean? So like, that's what's happened to society and culture and stuff like that. But you've got this lady here writing here, and the festival has a lot of work to do to be truly inclusive. And what you keep seeing as well too is, and as I always say, unattractive white women, they have this penchant for something that's entirely fantastical, and they treat diversity and stuff like that not as, what I mean. As I said earlier on, big fan of the Power Rangers. They never talked about their skin color. They never talked about what each other looked like. They would just wear. Meanwhile, these people are obsessed with what people look like. Obsessed. And as I said earlier on, if the girl from South Africa, which I don't think you should be if you're from America or any other country in the world and you're born there, I don't think you should be entered into the Rosa Trinity at all. I think it should be just people that are in Ireland. The same way I would think that if you were a beauty pageant in Africa, if you're born in a different country, I don't think you should be involved in that. I think it should be just people from their area. That's my personal belief. You might not share it. That's fine. But if she had been a 10 out of 10, the woman that who won it last year, I'd have said, yeah, absolutely, she's the best looking woman in the Rosa Trinity. But she wasn't. And now what you're doing is you're trying to diversify the Rosa Trinity with people that would be considered, again, they're not after winning some positions. Now, I will obviously as well to question some of the positions that we're given here as well, because when I just have a quick scan of some of the faces, again, you're looking at them and you're going, where's the 10 out of 10s? And I mean, these women are out there. And listen, I've been to America before, and you go to the likes of Abercrombie and Hollister, and I am telling you, you walk into those shops and you see women that are working in there that are unbelievable looking. And you're like, this chick could walk into a movie and she'd be loved. And she's just an ordinary board with an ordinary attitude. And that's fascinating to me. It's fascinating to me when you see and talk to a woman like that. That is just so stunning looking. And she's talking to you and she's just a regular, normal woman. But then you get this type of opinion here that's ludicrous because these people are deeply unhappy with it within themselves. Like I said earlier on, if you got someone that's in here that's Asian and she's a 10 out of 10, or someone that's Hispanic, I mean, the Hispanics, I'm telling you now, when they get involved in this competition, there's women in here that are gone. They're out. Because some of these Latina women that are walking around, Lord living, holy moly, you're saying some of this. When you start seeing these people getting involved, that's going to be serious problems. And what will happen is inevitably articles like this then will switch in 10 years' time, and they're like, there's a lot of Latina women winning these competitions. Yeah, because have you seen what they look like? These chicks are all into fitness. They're all into being women. They're all into femininity. They're all into fellas. Like, well, not all of them, you know what I mean? But I mean, a lot of these women, you have Juliana Pena there as well, too. That was UFC champion. Have you seen her? Oh, my Lord. Have you seen your woman, Rachel Ostovich? I think her name is. She's Hawaiian. But she's another one. You're like, holy shit. But when you see it, no, I don't think she's Latina. I think she's something else. But anyway, you see these women then, and they're going to start entering into this, and it's going to be doors closed. I mean, you're seeing it as well, too, in athletics, right? Now, I'm all for as well, too, picking the best person that's the best runner and all that. But you're starting to see now, and what you will see, is you're seeing a lot of people, in particular in the last couple of weeks, that have been promoted, that have been born in a different country, and they're now here as Irish runners and all that. They are going to be the best in it because they're physically different and physically more just better at that. Like, so for a long distance running, it's going to be no surprise to see the fella who was involved there. However, born in a different country, I don't think he should qualify. But then you've got people that are here then, say, for example, that have been born here, are fourth generation, second generation, for example, that are involved in the Irish team. And they are going to be very much so in the Irish team for a very long time because they're the best at what they do. They're athletically gifted, and their musculature as well, too, is very athletically gifted. And that is what's going to happen then. You're going to have a separation then from, a Sonia O'Sullivan. I'd say in the next 20 years, you won't see a Sonia O'Sullivan again. You'll start seeing a lady as well that will be born in Ireland and will be representing Ireland, but you won't see, Sonia's family, say, for example, been in Ireland for generations, centuries, or whatever like that might be. And you're just going to see less and less of that now happening. I mean, you look at the men's athletics as well, too, like, say, for America. It's no shock to me every time you look at the sprinters because I'm like, yeah, they're going to be the fastest ones, 100%. Those dudes are the fastest fellas in America. And same in Jamaica as well, too. Like, they're not doing things, and this is what I'm talking about with diversity idea. These people want diversity for diversity's sake, not because they're the best person in the role. Like they want. I mean, it wouldn't be shocking to me now if they decided to turn around to Hazel and said, "Like, come on in here now and you do the route." Do you know what I mean? Like they're not looking for the 10 out of 10. And this is what I'm saying to you. If in America, say for example, they decided to do diversity things and had like the American, we'll just say sprinting team or what would you call it? Even like the team racing there as well, too, where they hand the baton over. It's escaped my mind now at the moment. But you've got these guys doing that. Like, they're the fastest men that are there. If you decide, all right, we're just going to stick a white guy in there, you're like, he's not faster than that guy. He's not faster than that guy. No way. There's no chance. And then they come out then with the results and they're like, well, actually, yeah, your man's about 4 seconds slower than that guy there. Yeah, but then the fella that's 4 seconds quicker, he should be in there because he's there on merit. Like, he's there for a reason. Meanwhile, you have stupid articles like this that are coming out being like, we should just stick these people in. Now, again, like I said, you look at a couple of the faces and you go, yeah, question marks around that there for sure. Are these the prettiest women that you could find in this area? Now, I know someone will be in the chat and be like, hey, no, Ninja, it's got to do with skills that they have and all this sort of stuff. And you're like, yeah, but the rousers relate to me. Like, it's every year that comes around and people are like, the Father Ted memes come out to do because it's supposed to be a beauty pageant. I mean, I was fortunate enough to see a number of these American beauty pageants, and indeed, you just look at those and you're like, whoa, you know what I mean? There's none of that here. Like, I mean, she might not want it, but you could float into the local petrol station and you'll see a woman and you'll be like, my lord. And like, that chick's just not interested in that. Yeah, you get it. And that's sometimes what you find here. But as I keep saying as well too, when you have this type of articles here from RSVP, this is the person that's writing it, you know? And I mean, every time, as I said, go Ninja, go. every time. I mean, look, if the chick looked like Georgia Salpa that was writing this, I'd be like, maybe even merit in what you're saying there, because Georgia Salpa is like, you know, I mean, when I say 10 out of 10, if you've ever seen her in person, you know, unreal. Absolutely. You could go over 10 out of 10 there for that one. But show me bias there toward her. But seriously, you know, when you see these type of articles, it's always just as I said up above, like the She-Hulk type, you know, the hair, front fringe, face as well too, not athletic, you know. Again, I'm not going to be too critical of this girl here or anything like that at all, but these are the type of articles that you see. And the reason why you see these articles are because these are people that are deeply unhappy with themselves and want to fit a quota. Because women like that feel as if diversity is something that they want to tinker with, that they want to play with, that they get some excitement out of that. That's what it all is. That's what it's all about. That's why advertisements now, you're seeing how it's been directed at people and all that. You're seeing it directed towards women. And I mean, it's not working, because when you have roles that don't make sense, and it's like, for example, I was talking to a couple of women there recently and they were saying, did you see the new Game of Thrones? And I said, oh yeah. I said, it's seen it, yeah. House of the Dragons, not great. What was the first thing that they said? Did you see the new main woman in it? I said, yeah. And they said, she's not good looking. And I actually thought, wow, like, that's interesting. That was the first thing that they noticed. They were like, she's not good looking. Now, that's their opinion. My opinion, I think she's a very distinctive looking person, is what I'll say. But again, quite an odd, when you go from, say, from Emilia Clarke, who was objectively, and I think most people would say, a beautiful woman, a very attractive looking woman, to this woman, you're like, yeah, it doesn't quite mix there now, does it? But that was the first thing they noticed. And then the second thing they noticed then was when she started talking about wanting to be a knight. She started getting off the dragon. She's like, I want to be a knight. And you're looking and you're going, that's a codswallop. But the women now are recognizing that. They're like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Did you see Damon? Did you see Matt Smith? Now, Matt Smith isn't the most hulking of dudes or anything like that. But this guy is big. He's imposing and he has the armor on. He looks imposing. I mean, you stick your woman into the armor, she's 4 foot hunting. Like, you know what I mean? It's not. Again, people are starting to see that now and they're starting to realize it and starting to say to themselves, okay, Kylo Ren there in Star Wars, trained by Luke Skywalker. I was able to take out a whole Jedi Academy, trained then by Snoke, was running the galaxy and has an issue then with Rey. It's not realistic. Now, I mean, here's the thing. It's science fiction. When people say, I can't believe they wrote that, I'm like, yeah, well, George Lucas, you know what I mean, top Star Wars. But this is the type of stuff that you're getting to see now, where it's starting to come into reality. It's bled over now from entertainment. Like, I mean, here's Captain Marvel, and as I said multiple times, you've got Brie Larson, right, is playing Captain Marvel. Brie Larson is not attractive, in my opinion. But you've got your woman there, as I said earlier on, Teyana Paris, who was in WandaVision, who was a black lady, and if you want to go on the diversity route or anything like that, she is phenomenal looking, very good looking woman, and much more attractive than Brie Larson. However, they have Brie Larson in that role, it's mind-boggling. It just boggles the mind, it really does. So, again, when you're talking about a serious lack of diversity, the Rose Trelea is embarrassing. I don't think so. And see, the reason why it's embarrassing for this woman here is because if she applied for it, I don't think she'd get far. I mean, it's like me saying the Premier League is embarrassing because I wouldn't be at the level. And this is the difference between men and women, I think, an awful lot of the time. Men are much more honest. And some women might disagree with that. And there are a lot of honest women out there. Don't get me wrong there. I'm not discounting that. But, like, I will tell you categorically right now, I wouldn't play in the Premier League. I wouldn't be able to play in the Premier League. I wouldn't probably be able to play. Well, I wouldn't be able to play in the NBA. I wouldn't be able to play in the NFL. I wouldn't be able to be a Hollywood star or anything like that. I can tell you that. I wouldn't be an Abercrombie model. I wouldn't be, top 10 most something alive. You know what I mean? That just wouldn't happen. But these people all think that they can. And it's not the same. Like I said, like, I don't think I could be an athletic runner and say, yeah, I probably would have a chance against Usain Bolt. It'd be impossible. Usain Bolt, if he was running on his hands, would still be quicker than I would be. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing about that. I mean, that's okay. You got Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is a much more attractive man than I am. 100%. I've no shame in saying that. And no man does. When they look at a fella and go, yeah, no, women will probably pick him over me. It's nothing embarrassing about that. You just go, well, hands are dealt in life and that's it. You know? And there's a serious lack of diversity. This is what these people are honed in on. So it's their own self-insecurities and it's their own projection then of let's cast something else, because what they would focus on then is they can say that this is an embarrassing thing. So this is the hypocrisy in this. It's an embarrassing event, but you want to have it more diverse. For what reason? Well, for the reason so that RSVP can put up more articles then and say how people reacted negatively to the previous Rose because she was A, unattractive, and B, something weird to do with their skin color, right? Now, as I said, going back on what I said earlier on, there was a one on Twitter that was commenting and she was upset about people being critical of the last Rose Trelea. I'll show you the picture now. So this woman here on the left, people were critical about this. They were, and rightfully so in my view, because she was the least attractive out of at least 4 women, and this woman won it. That's got nothing to do with what she looks like. It's got to do, well, I mean, it does have something to do with what she looks like because she's not the most attractive out of them. But, like, this lady looks 40, okay? And that's only last year. Now, this lady, like, as I'm saying there as well too, right, okay, you just... And what beauty pageant would this woman win? This girl, on the other hand, though, and that's got nothing to do with what she looks like in terms of like her skin color and anything like that. This girl is, this woman very well put together. Very good looking lady. If she was good looking, I'd say, yeah, no problem. But to pick her out of all of the counties and say that this was the winner last year when you were showing pictures of what the previous winner looked like, it's not right. Like, this girl, looking, just giving a quick scan of the photo there, is much more attractive than any of the others that are there in that little photo that I'll show you. I'll show you again. So just bear that girl in mind there. Very attractive. And then you see some of the others then that are even in the front row and you're like, really? But, like, I mean, much more better looking than that girl. Definitely better looking than that girl. Definitely better looking than that girl. Let's keep going. Definitely better looking than her. Definitely better looking than her. Definitely better looking than her. 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 So the large majority of them there. Now, again, like I'd say about all of them, I think that girl that I just pointed out there is the best looking out of all them that are there. But, like, is that not what the competition is for? The competition is for that, isn't it? Like, very strange. But again, it goes down to this diversity thing of, hey guys, we need someone that looks different, because then you'll have more articles saying, guys, people are not happy because of what that person looks like. It's nonsense. From living in Cork City to a sports hall in Clonmel, Ukrainian refugees ask where next. Back to Ukraine. Hundreds of Ukrainians who were living in student accommodation in Cork City were forced to leave at the weekend to make way for the return of students. I mean, they write that as if that's a negativity. That's the government's problem. The government haven't tactfully done this. They haven't looked at this situation and said, what would we do? Actually, we shouldn't get all these people in here. Like, absolutely lunacy. Listen, guys, McDonald's has opened back at home. The Klitschko's are running around doing videos every day. Everything looks cool. And it looks like that whole issue at this moment in time is condensed to one area. Our country has also been given millions and billions. So go home. And this is what's happening with the media, by the way. These people, majority of them here, as you can see in this photo here, are majority white. And when you have people going, go home, like the media don't know what to do because they're like, you can't call people Islamophobes because they're sharing the same ethnicity here. Yeah, go home. Like if everyone's cool, return. Like it's very simple. And you wanted this to come out our own people. And this is what I'm talking about. I couldn't believe this. I really couldn't. Students asking to stay in tents on Dublin College campus. Now, I think I said Dublin City University or on DCU. I'll retract that for the time because I'm not sure which one it is. However, Dublin College campus amid housing crisis. We've seen students extend themselves far beyond their price point. Who's where you should be sleeping, eh? That's what I said. So this is maddening. It is insane. And to even suggest something like this shows a very big failure amongst the student unions, the student president, and some of the people then that are involved in these colleges, because if you're indeed involved in these colleges and you're a lecturer and like that, you should be hopping up and down about this. This is something that's been talked about with even Manchester United, and I'm just linking Manchester United in this because this is what's happening in a football club. There are people calling on Sir Alex Ferguson, board members, former players, to say Glazer's out. That's over football. That's a football club because the ownership hasn't been doing good for 17 years. Seriously, a football club that people are like, these people need to go, and they're calling on other people. That's what needs to be happening now amongst these students. They need to be calling upon lecturers, the college themselves, who run the college, to say, all right, guys, you need to get whoever's in our accommodation now, and we need to come back in. We're paying money. We're paying top dollar, by the way, for degrees, and some of them useful, some of them not. And we need to come in and we need to do our bit here. To offer to stay in a tent is a great failure amongst the student union, the student president, and indeed the college itself. To not give these people clarity as to where they're going. This is absolutely shocking. And again, it goes higher than the college. This should be going towards the government. Hang on here. But again, as I keep saying, students willing and people willing to do stupid things like this rather than absolutely being in uproar, and I mean respectfully, peacefully, about what's happening and what's been going on to them. Like it's mind-boggling. This is a mind-boggling article. And Dublin Live putting it out there as if going, guys, well done there. You know, you're going to sleep in the tent. Oh, it's like an electric picnic. Yeah, no, guys, we love the fantasy of the likes of us going to these events and you will have a great time. No, but hang on here. Who's sitting inside the dormitory there where you should be? Who's there? Find out. And this is what's going to happen now. You're going to see citizen journalism surrounding this now, going to these colleges and people asking who's in there, waiting at the door. And again, respectfully, peacefully, asking questions as to who's going in and showing people what's going on. And that's, again, what's happening. It's what happened in Bergentown. Philip went over, and most other people went over and recorded and said, look what's happening here, guys. And very quickly, there was movement because people said, oh, here, hang on, what's going on here? You know what I mean? That's a shocking article. It really is. Insects could give a meaty taste of food and help environment scientists find. Pass eats the bugs is coming back. I mean, they're at it now big time here. And I mean, you've got some actual scientists that are out there saying that humans can't digest them and it can cause serious problems for them. So watch out for the word, by the way, sustainable and sustainability in your foods now. Watch out for that one because have a look at the ingredients on the back. That's something that's been highlighted by a number of people that are out there now. And they're saying that's done that for a reason. The ECB likely to bring in 2 further interest hikes this year. Strap yourself in for a bumpy ride this winter. If there is one thing households in this country do not need right now, it is a rise in European interest rates. No. Why is the European Central Bank talking about this type of thing? Again, like I said, this whole idea, I mean, are you starting to own nothing? Are you happy? Are you happy about this? Absolutely not. And nobody should be happy about this. And this is what I'm saying to you. The likes of the Defence Forces, the Gardaí as well too. You guys are under the same boat here. Or not under the same boat. You're under the same umbrella here of being an average head. That's your money being decreased. And also as well too, your pension in the future is being decreased. Are you happy about that? Like, are we not all on this boat together here? Like, are you not feeling the pinch on these things when you're going out and doing a job and it's tough going and you're coming home and you're seeing your pay packet and you're looking at it going, what the fuck? You know? And then you see this type of nonsense coming out. Bad news. Bright teen girl identifying as a cat at school and shows feline behaviour. The teenager is apparently allowed to act like a feline and being non-verbal at the private school in Melbourne, Australia. Oh, stop. I'm telling you. Stop the wars. I want to get off. Dr. Phil Kieran, I'm worried my child will pick up infections in play school. Getting virus is part of life, and recent research suggests it is quite important for our development. Yeah. But as I said there, the damage done to the medical profession in the last 2 years has been irreparable. Really has. Brian, governments will keep the lights on over winter. Slow Garda response allows gangs to rob farms. ICMSA. I said too busy hiding under roads with the speed cameras. Mortgage misery as ECB now set for 2 more hikes by the end of the year. You're beginning to own nothing. Are you happy, as I said there? Absolutely shocking. Meanwhile, by the way, your mortgage prices are going up and you're seeing more people now than ever coming into middle class neighbourhoods that have been given those houses for free. Are you happy with that too? I ain't. Tell you that. That's a video I'll do another day talking about Transformers. Again, if you're tuning into this channel, it's a wild channel. People have been looking at me talking about Power Rangers and Transformers and ridiculous things during the week. Superfluous things. But sometimes I like to have something cathartic to talk about from myself, from my own head. And that's why I'll do other videos as well too. Don't worry about that. But yeah, that's why you're seeing those type of videos. So if you're tuning into the channel now, been like, hang on, Ninja, you've been talking absolute muck during the week. Don't worry, the channel's wild, and you just gotta go with it, I suppose. Cyclist Rab Wardell passes 2 days after winning Scottish title. Totally normal, guys. Nothing to look at here. Very, very normal. It's happening in cycling now all the time, but it's totally normal. It's nothing to be worried about. Just, forget about it. 27 years of age. Not to be worried about. Sergio Aguero, permanently retired now. It's nothing to be worried about. Christian Eriksen, he's back now playing football. It's all good. Okay, Shane Warren, Ray Liotta, Bob Saget, Gilbert Gottfried. These are all celebrity names that I've just named off there. People that are well known in the last year or so. 2 years before that, those no celebrities. Weird, isn't it? That's strange how we can pinpoint all this, and yet this is happening, isn't it? Anyway, Rab Wardell passed in his sleep after triumphing at the mountain bike cross country championships 37. I mean, I think most people would probably agree that that's very odd, isn't it? And there's no questions to be asked. Of course, we're not asking anything. And I'm very much so assuming that in 5 to 10 years' time, they'll come out and go, there's your choice, though. Stuff. And this is why, again, by the way, I think I'm seeing a lot less energy from lefties. I'd be very interested to see what happens now, and you're seeing less of it now. I've said it to people all the time now, and I'm saying it to people now here again. Like, you're seeing less of these people, you're seeing less likes on their posts, you're seeing less engagement on their posts, you're seeing less fervent behaviour. I'm wondering what's up there. I'm just curious. Gardaí monitoring safety of Irish politicians amid resurgence of violent rhetoric online. Gardaí are aware of several people involved in spreading hateful messages and veiled threats. Not like the coercion that happened in the last 2 years, though, lads. No, not like people's freedoms and rights and civil liberties been taken away from them. Not like their livelihoods been stopped. Not like the 200% plus increase in self-deletions, primarily amongst men, which most people don't talk about that either. Over the last 2 years, they don't talk about that, do you know? They don't talk about how the government actively voted for segregation and discrimination against the people of Ireland. You don't know about that. You're not investigating that, you know? You're not monitoring that, you know? You're not monitoring Luke O'Neill and what he's saying on the news talk, you know? All right. Well, here's the thing. The media are saying this. I would sincerely hope, and some of the information that I've gotten is a lot of the Gardaí that are going out and talking to people that are not fans of what this government have done and are not fans of what they are doing. Most of the Gardaí seem to agree with them. So Is there any chance of an investigation into any of these people that have been pulling the strings for the last couple of years? Again, these people that are making comments online aren't running the show. They've not done anything. This is not Minority Report here, guys. Any chance of doing something about people now that have been involved in things for the last 2 years that have been doing negative things, running the show? No? Well, public support when articles like this come out go down. You're seeing it across the world. And like I said, I'm a big fan of Law and Order. I'm a big fan, and indeed, I'm someone that very much so goes towards saying, guys, you need to support all that you need. You need to be paid well. You need to have more people within your ranks. You need less woke nonsense going on with you. You need to be able to do your job correctly. You need to have a judicial system that backs you up. You need to have good, strong judges. That's what I'm saying. And I believe in morality. I believe in justice. I believe in just behaviour. But clearly, in the last couple of years, it's been clown world. And when you see a DPP not deciding to prosecute Leo Varadkar, it sends a really bad message. And is there any further investigation into Leo Varadkar, is what I'd say. Is there any investigation into the CSO statistics that are now being published in the media? Is there any investigation going into that and what people were coerced into doing for the last couple of years? Because the number, by the way, just so you guys know, was over 5,000. They've now whittled it down to 183. That seems like fraud to me. Again, speculatively, allegedly, that seems like it to me. But no interest. What about the deals that were made with these companies that are secret? How come when people ask about these companies and what they put into these things for the last couple of years, how come they won't tell? Why is that? How come there's an open border policy? How come that's not being stopped? How come the DPP is still dragging their heels over what they're going to do with Youssef there? You know what I mean? And people then that are going, hang on here, this government are doing negative things. They're the problem? I don't think so. I disagree. Student housing rents in Cork to shoot up due to bottleneck. With rents as high as €900 per month, students' unions are urging the government to increase student supports. You could do one better, guys, and you could run an election against the governments. That's what I do, Why not? Our Rangers there. State agent who sought $2,000 deposit from clients to get on waiting list for new development apologised and withdraws offer. This is in Wexford, by the way. This isn't Dublin. It's happening now in Wexford. So when is it going to happen in Waterford next? Tipperary, Galway, Mayo? It's probably already happening, speculatively, allegedly. But this is in Wexford. And this guy has taken $2,000 to be on a waiting list. Holy shit. Trouble is ahead in terms of housing and lack of it for people that are here centuries. Very much so. Skint couple who joined fans last month own now buying a house. Jasmine Grogan and Macaulay Murchie, aged 19 and 22, decided to join it in July in the hopes of getting a mortgage for a home, and they've already earned enough. So what's going on is here now, you've got a society now that is engaging in this stuff as well too, which would have negatively been looked upon years gone by. Listen, again, I know people that are engaged in the work and stuff like that, and that's what they do. And if that's what you want to do, that's sound. But what type of message is this giving off to youth? Like, it's giving off here's make a quick, easy book here, but your privacy, your intimacy, and all like that is now been shared amongst the world. Like, I don't know, it's not for me personally, but this is another thing that's been promoted here by the Irishmayor.ie as if this is sounds a pound. You know what I mean? I don't think so. Robert Troy's failure to declare property, I'm embarrassed. I got it so wrong. Yeah, right. Absolutely. Any contract entered into with a public body by a public representative worth in excess of 6,500 is to be declared each year under Ireland's ethics laws. Totally forgot about that one, guys. Hard to believe the one on the left won Miss Ireland last year. She was 40, not to mention she's actually South African. So again, if you're winning Miss Ireland, would you not be born in the country? That should be a prerequisite. And again, let's be fair, and I am always fair. If you were born in Ireland and you win Miss South Africa, I would 100% disagree with that one also, because you are not South African. You shouldn't be Miss South Africa. And going back to what I was saying earlier on there, I had an argument last year with some media that I was saying, hey, the woman on the left here shouldn't have won Miss Ireland because she was the least attractive out of at least 4 people. I think that's wrong, and she wanted to focus on what she looked like. And I was like, okay. If I went to Nigeria tomorrow, which is where you're from, and I decided to enter Mr. Nigeria, would I win? And she was like, no, you wouldn't have a claim to it. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's exactly what I'm saying. I wouldn't have a claim to it, nor would I win it, and nor should I expect it. So, very simple stuff. But like I said, there's a difference between last year's winner and this year's winner. Like a lot there going on. A lot happening there. Andrew Tate banned from Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I talked about it above there. As I said, they're up above. That's true. The former kickboxer's content has attracted a massive following of young men online. It's very interesting. Hungary's weather chief sacked over wrong forecast. A mistaken forecast saw the postponement of a huge fireworks display planned to celebrate National Day. Hungary don't mess around. They seem to know what's going on. Imagine if Met Erden was under pressure like this, as I said there. Met Erden, they did a spread on your woman there that's in Met Erden there last week, being like, look at the fabulous home she lives in. And like, a person that gets things consistently and constantly wrong, like for real, lads. University fields dozens of complaints about improper behaviour by students and staff. University College Cork UCC has received dozens of complaints about alleged harassment, bullying and harassment in recent years, but only 10 cases have led some. Who is down at that UCC? Hang on there for a second, we'll do something live, we will. I always like to do these little things live video sometimes. Remember I talked about a fella that was recently given Irish citizenship. Again, when you see the accusations that are made here, I am not saying that he's involved in this. Hang on there. What's that fella's name? What's that man's name? Hang on there for a second. Give me a moment. Doing things live here. Right, so... Oh, yeah, there we go. So you've got... what's quite curious is you've got a fella that's on Twitter that behaves very poorly there, and Amanullah the Sondi. Now, I am not accusing him of being involved in any of this. I'm not accusing him whatsoever. But you have Amanullah the Sondi, that is head of religion, senior lecturer in contemporary Islam, and chair of race equality in UCC, affiliate of UF of Glasgow, director of NASC Ireland, member of GERIS Net EU. So an awful lot there. So he's involved in that. Makes a lot of inflammatory and very negative comments on Twitter publicly. And you see an article like this from UCC, I am not shocked. Again, I am not accusing him of being involved in any of this stuff that's been accused of, whoever it is being accused of. What I'm saying is it's very strange to see an employee behave the way he does on Twitter, and then you see an article like this come up. That is quite interesting to say the very least, as all I'll say. Reading in the year showed scandals in successive governments, and yet there's a minority that are shocked by the scandals and a smaller minority that support the scandals. Something else, isn't it? I said Ireland. Will financial support from parents be taxed at 52%, hitting the average Joe constantly while the politicians mug you off? Family redirecting rental income stream to Dara for financial support as she retains. As prices in Europe jump as Russia plans to shut pipeline for 3 days, we must expect Putin to further reduce gas ahead of winter. German economy minister, can't get the words out. Economy minister warns. And I was like, Korb? No, not interested. Weird. Good. Students demand refund of €11,000 fees with no jobs on horizon. Students, social workers at Dublin Business School, DBS, were told they will not be qualified to work as social workers after they graduate. 11,000 fees, and they're not qualified. Yikes. Fauci to step down in December. I've done that one already. Lots of illnesses halting flights, isn't there? Passengers stranded after Ryanair forced to cut capacity on Dublin flight. Transformers is hot out there if you have any interest in Transformers. Students' union pleads with homeowners to make spare rooms available this September. The union said some students have been forced to defer their course because they cannot find affordable accommodation. What about the government, guys? You're not going to look at them? Wasn't Helen McEntee opening her doors as well too to people that are not from this country? Wasn't Leo Varadkar doing that as well too with his partner? Did that materialise? According to Leo Varadkar, it did. But are those guys opening their doors to students? Doesn't seem like it. Woman gives up on buying a house after property jumps 40% in price. The modest size 2-bedroom house in Dublin sold for nearly €500,000. Oh my God. It's 2 windows on it and a door. It's like like something out of Monty Python skit. This time, I was like, that's the plan. The plan is to demoralize people and say, okay, you won't buy it, and you just be forever renter. You can't pass any sort of wealth on to the next generation. They don't want you having the next generation, but the plan is to demoralize people so much. Being diagnosed with endometriosis finally taught me how to say no. It's not that I was unfamiliar with pain before all of this. I've been in and out of physical therapy since middle school. I stopped taking Advil and jumped to prescription. I said the stock photos the Irish media chose are quite interesting early because, again, the author doesn't look like this lady here. So that's quite an interesting one. Carrie Nicole Blank cancels honeymoon and gets emergency flight home after husband falls ill. Irish model Carrie Nicole Blank has revealed that she has had to cancel her honeymoon after her husband was rushed to hospital during the week. Wonder if he's alright. Totally normal though. Totally normal. E-scooters involved in 440 traffic collisions in 2.5 years. More than 2/3 of e-scooter traffic incidents, 67%, recorded in the Dublin region. X doubt. It's just what this is just a way for them to tax and insure and register and license these e-related things. Because like I said to you before, they'll give you the green spiel and tell you, right guys, go on with the electricity there and you can plug it in, and guess what guys, it's going to be great. And you go, oh yeah, well I don't have to use petrol or anything like that, and then the government go, oh shit, we're not making as much money out of that as we thought we would do. Register it, you know what I mean? It's the same plan every time. Here's something that's free, or here's something that's close to being free. Shit, how do we get money out of that? And that's exactly what you're saying, yeah, again. So this is all an added thing, because let's not forget as well too, what else do they tell you that is involved in traffic accidents and collisions in the last number of years? Bicycles. And they want you to register and have a license for a bicycle. Just not too long ago, it was 3-4 years ago that they were talking about that. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Ukrainian refugees begin to leave student accommodation. So that's who was in the student accommodation then, guys. So again, if you're a student, are you interested in being woke? Are you interested in being PC? Are you interested in sleeping in a tent on your own campus while you see these people float in and out? No problemo. Laughing at you. How long? How long before you decide enough's enough? Because I can tell you what, if I was in college, what I would be doing is I would be very much out publicly speaking about this, and I'd be saying, right guys, it's time for these people to be moving on. McDonald's is opened. Klitschko's every day. Lee Schreiber last week. Everything seems cool. So why are they in where I should be? And I'm not only paying top dollar for it, but I'm expecting it. So when they're talking about accommodation, it's very interesting. Very interesting. Welfare recipients to get triple whammy of financial assistance in the budget. Nothing for the worker though. Nothing for the worker. And there's Pascal, Pascal, great fella, yes, there now, The explosions on the sun could see a cannibal solar storm headed for Earth. Every time I see comments like this, I just laugh. A series of explosions on the sun could lead to a cannibal solar storm ahead for Earth. Lol. Taxes will fix that one out, lads. Just keep paying taxes. And that'll tell the sun to be not naughty and to do what it's told. Nonsense. Waterford celebrating Pride this weekend. It's like August. What are they doing that for? Commentary doesn't seem to happen in the Middle East. I said this commentary doesn't seem to happen there, though. My husband is lazy and refuses to help with our 3 kids. It's getting me down that my husband is the laziest man on the planet. He works 4 days a week, and when he gets home, he does nothing to help. What do you do? What do you do? And again, this is the attitude that's been encouraged and has been incentivized amongst people like that. And I mean, here's the thing. You're writing towards some nobody in a paper there. Now, I mean, here's the thing. I'd say some of these stories are completely fabricated and completely made up, speculatively, allegedly. And you've got these people that are criticizing their husband. Not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Shouldn't be doing that. Priest leads plans for Climate Action Park in Galway. Priest is leading plans for a community climate action park on Churchland in Knockram, County Galway. I said, my faith in God is at an all-time high. I know God is 100% behind me. The institution, on the other hand, is a different story. Brace yourselves. If you thought the first coming of Donald Trump was crazy enough, wait for the sequel. Minions see him as a thwarted redeemer and yearn for the second coming. Like Messiahs before him, from Skywalker to Moses, he may still be wrestling with his fate. I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm very much so looking forward to it, because the world seemed to run very well for the last 4 years and people seem to start telling the truth a lot more. and then it all was taken away. And a lot of people speculate about that one. They'll speculate about how a fella won that whole situation from his basement. They hardly done any talking. Can't string a sentence together, of course, about too. Shaking the hands of people that are imaginary, and shaking the hands of people and then forgetting 30 seconds later that he's just done that. Falling off his bike, laughed at by the majority of the world. And again, that's even before you look at the pictures of him sniffing young individuals, as we'll say. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to it making a comeback. 100%. The rise and rise of data centers in Ireland. Data centers in Ireland now consume more metered electricity than all of our rural homes put together. So they're talking about prices of your electricity going up to basically keep these people in business. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, why don't you charge them top dollar and top rate and leave the average normal Joe alone? Nobody here, average heads, ask for any of this shit. None of us. Get rid of them. So if they're taking so much electricity and causing price bumps and all that, get rid of them. I don't need it. West Waterford farmers urged to be vigilant at their burglaries. Farmers in West Waterford are being advised to secure their property. 2 separate burglaries took place in recent with tools and equipment being stolen. Of course, now the baddies have boomsticks and the goodies don't, I mean, if you call the pizza in West Waterford, you'll probably see the pizza arrive quicker than the Gardaí. Property crisis in the sphere grows of property bubble bursting. 8 experts reveal their predictions. I'm no expert here, but I can see it going consistently as it is. Property prices won't be going down. I spend 60% of my wages on rent, which leaves me struggling to go out and enjoy the social scene. How's the Liberal decisions and carelessness towards policies going? This is how it is. A student who spends 60% of her, and nearly is a big word there, by the way, nearly. Again, not to discount, that could be 50% or more. Income on rent has said the lack of disposable money she has left at the end of the month has affected her stability, her ability to enjoy. Do you think I can talk? But this is all like, 40% I'm left to spend on. This is scandalous, especially if you're in like a decent enough job. I mean, here's the thing: people should be able to, again, difference between surviving and living. These people should be able to live. Again, the haves and the have-nots. The haves are living their lives. They done Golfgate, Marine Gate, all these things. The expenditures gone across the world. No problem. Meanwhile, people like this struggling. But it's like, talk to media about me problems. No, run against these people in elections, please. Thank you. I'm single and 36. Do I continue to focus on myself, prioritize dating, or resort to egg freezing? Leading questions. Perhaps you should let go of making the right decision, writes advice columnist Eleanor Gordon Smith. Double barrel names always get me. All your options are worth celebrating. The old career was much more important. That's what the article states. Finnish PM takes this test after a leaked party video. Good looking lady, but definitely very interesting to see that they didn't like her going out and having a good time. Married woman dancing with men as well down a nightclub. Not fantastic. Yeah. Stated that fairly clearly as well too. Mixed race guy banned from things, but controversial and negative celebrities who've done very bad things still have social media accounts. Stuff. And there you go, as I said earlier on, 183 there. So that's the news cycle for this week. Anyway, guys, I'll be back next week. Hopefully, please God, 7:30 Irish time. Thanks for joining in. To everyone, thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing. Very much so appreciate it. Thanks for commenting in the chat as well too. If you're someone that's commenting in the chat, much appreciated, and big appreciation shown towards the mods here in the chat. You're all doing a super job, and thanks again. Links in the description below if you'd like to support the channel, help the channel out, and follow me on the various different social medias. I think again tonight I'm going to highlight the fact of what happens to Tate and say, get on Gab, get on Gettr, promote them to as many people as you can, because they're the places to be, and they're the places that you're sharing information and you're seeing information from across the world that's not been shown on these other platforms. And indeed, when you have a man out there stating his opinion on things, you don't have to agree with everything he says. I'm not endorsing nor agreeing with everything that Andrew says, but what I'm saying to you is there's a lot of radical weirdo shit that's been said for the last couple of years that's left out there and has been perceived as being normal, and it's not normal. Yeah, a fellow coming out saying that if he's a man and there's a woman, there's a big difference between both of them. Don't see an issue with it. Anyway, jump into the chat. Thanks again for everyone that jumped in live. We've had about 60 odd people here tonight, so much appreciated for that. It's Amy Burke says, some Ukrainian woman who gave me a sob story on adverts to get something I have up cheaper was able to spend €1,205 in one day, but says he lives in a tent. Oh, stop. I looked around and then they are all at it. One girl got a free tablet and said she's broke, but then asked someone else about a €350 handbag. Really interesting. SGD says, good evening all. Good to see you here. Robert tried a straw that should break the camel's back in terms of the uniparty, but when will Johnny Orange wake up, says Or? Maybe in October when they want to lock you up and double your heating bills. Very true. Very true indeed. Catherine O'Connell's in here, says, just souls. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Sheepdog's in here, says, hello again, all good people. Sean Mack says, no, April 2022, or 2021 to April 2022, autocorrect. That's unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Just have a look now throughout the chat. Again, like I said, this is if you hit up and say at Ninja Night, that helps me out greatly. Eric Mann says, last movie I saw in the cinema, Top Gun Maverick and Belfast. Yeah, Top Gun Maverick was the last one I saw. It's excellent. Tanya McMichael says, hi all. Amy Brooks says, if anyone has adverts, watch out for it. They are all spending thousands. I have about 20 screenshots of it because people couldn't believe me. Put the screenshots up, Amy, if you can. That's possible. Sheepdog says, they're starting to get annoyed in Ninja Night, which is even better, which is sad really on a different level, if you get me. Oh, yeah, 100%. Absolutely, 100%. Dave travels throughout time, says, hello, everyone. Good to see you here, Dave. Let's see. Pale Ninja says, Dave travels through time. Good to see you here, man. Dave travels through time says he's auditioning for the villain character in college. Nice. Nice. Let's see now. The kid says Fury has said some base things over the years. But the kid, Tyson Fury is based. He's a big follower of Jesus. Every time he wins a fight, he's like grace and glory to God, and all praise to Jesus. And recently as well too, we've seen Torba was talking about. He showed a video of Tyson Fury and he was talking to the media, and he was like, "This is how he talked to the media." And Fury was asked a question, and Fury says to him, "You a follower of Jesus?" And the man just looked, and he's like, "You a follower of Jesus Christ?" And yeah, man was just looking at him and just asked him another question. So obviously, you know. And Tyson started to recite verses from the Bible. That's all he said. He's like, "So you've got no comment?" And he's like, "Praise the Lord Jesus Christ." And he was sitting in the van and he was looking out the window. And it was brilliant, brilliant stuff. But yeah, Tyson's great. Tyson's, in my opinion, probably the greatest boxer of all time. You know, like especially at that weight class as well. I couldn't see anybody beating him throughout history. I really couldn't. No, really can't. Keep going through the chat there. Just looking through, saying if Ninja Knight's in the hizzy. There was some there. It's in the chat there just as I'm scrolling. There's a lot of houses in Texas as well too. Let's see the gaps. 300,000 bangers here. Bergman in here says Ireland. Good to see you here. A lot of people with not a lot of love for media. Yeah, the media endorse and aid an awful lot of this nonsense. Instead, it's been like, listen, guys, you know, here's what's going on. But that's why I've done what I've done with this channel, and why other people have done what they're doing as well too, like Philip, like Dave Cullen, like Satirical Soldier, like Nick O'Keefe, and like various other people that are out there. Derek Bloig now as well too, latest on the scene, which is great to see. You know, more people are coming on and saying, right, this is how it is, guys. You know, the time of listening to Claire Bourne and Ryan Tuberty, you know, that telling lies is over. And now, because of social media and because of the internet, it's just untenable for these people, and these people can't hack it and can't deal with it now. There's no ability to comb over what's happening and say, oh, everything's fine, guys, you're only being paranoid. No. We've all seen it. We've all seen the same people as well too that want to talk about how Grant Curry's in here, says hi all, good to see you here. We've got the same people that are saying everything's cool, are the same people that are saying not to worry about it, and meanwhile you're feeling the pinch. You know, it's not happening anymore. It's not doing it. Not doing it. So, you know, Dark Man says 61 in the chat. Hit the like button, folks. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Eddie from Sutton, Eddie Brian Dwyer says hello, all. Good to see you here, man. The kid says, I never trusted the Donald, but I have to admit, he did make me laugh out loud at least once a month for a good 5 years. Yeah, he did, but also as well, too, what's going to come back with him, too, is the promotion of you know what for the last number of years. Like, that's not going good for him. And indeed, when you see, I was just looking at another comment there. When you see the circles that these people are moving in, and also as well, too, I mean, here's the thing. He's going to come under pressure when if it swings for the red side in November, he's going to come under pressure in the next 2 years because they're going to then wheel out, hey guys, you knew under your watch that this stuff wasn't good and you did things that weren't good. So again, political cat and mouse there. Memory Warriors is catching O'Connell. Yeah, I heard Harris saying there was no increase in autism, only increase in diagnosis. And yesterday, Madigan was saying it was increasing exponentially. Here's the thing, Memory Warrior. I didn't know anybody with autism when I was growing up. Now I don't know a family that it's not in. You know, I don't know a family that's not in. So like that's very strange to me. And again, like as more and more people are realizing, like it's not just what they're portraying in the movies, like in the Predator or in Power Rangers or anything like that. These people that are like clairvoyant, like Rain Man or something like that. Like really, really big issues there. So very interesting to see, and it seems the rates of it in Japan seem to be very low. Jan Curtis says, "Good evening." Here, Max says 5 top senior rank RD are now former PSNI commissioner, 2 assistant commissioners, and 2 chief superintendents. So we support and remember Michael Collins, and then what was it 100 odd years later, they're back in church. Leanne Curtis says, "Good evening, Ninja and all. Hope you're all well. Be good. I'm up to my eyes tonight. Hope all's good with you. Good one there. SGD Signal is partly owned by Jack Dorsey. Interesting. Yeah, that was one that I don't think any of them are, like I said earlier on, I don't think any of them are 100%. Like recently I'd seen the one that was promoted on the terminal list and I was like, who owns that? And they were like, Amazon does. And I was like, well then, that's that already done. Free product placement there. Yeah, and that's free is definitely using you. Man says late to the show tonight. Hope you're all well. I'm doing well. All's good. Let's see now. On. Now talk. Isn't it crazy as well too? And I mean this in a good way. In a good way, when I say crazy, I've looked at some of Phillips, even his latest views, all over. A lot of them over the 3,000 mark. News Talk are getting over 3,000 on every video. I think that's interesting. So that's why the media are coming out with those type of articles. They're hoping people will listen to them. But nobody is. You're seeing Phillips' video. I think there got 10,000. I think the latest one. And then a couple of the other ones then as well too, like I think Anything Goes as well too. He's getting huge views and he's showing what's going on in Ireland too. And so I know the Lotus Eaters as well too are doing the same. I recently as well too got asked to do an interview on Plastic Paddy's channel. Yeah, well for that one, I'll be definitely interested in that. He's an American guy as far as I know. So yeah, be around. Let's have a look now with the Tonight podcast. Watson used another of Philip's clips for a video a few hours ago. Nice. It's great to see. I have to say, like, it's great for Philip and great for people in the world, the wider world, realizing what's going on here. And it's good to see other people linking in. Like Philip's channel is doing great, and it's brilliant to see. Now at the moment as well too. I think he hasn't uploaded something in a few days, but like it's really interesting to see that the platform aren't keen on things that he's doing, and what he's doing is just respectfully talking to people. Like there's nothing wrong with it at all. Zero. You know what I mean? But good to see other channels highlighting it and taking clips from it. It's very important. Good to see, because everyone's in the same boat now. They're looking at who's involved. The links. Have a look now. Ninja is. A lot of people having a laugh in the chat. keep going. So yeah, interesting stuff that you're saying as well too. Sean Max is not a fan of Vicky Phelan, best friends of Van and Kelly. Oh, didn't know that one. That's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. A lot of promo going for her though. Like a lot of it. No, she was big enough the stuff as well too from last year, and was telling you as well too that was all good. And then she was telling you, I think after that she contracted, not after that, of course, well too, not linked to it at all. Didn't she say allegedly, speculatively, she on Twitter she had a Bell's palsy or something like that? Odd one. I can't believe you know who Ethan Klein is. I don't even know how I happened upon the H3 podcast. This Memory Warrior. We've only seen it because other people talk about it. You know, Samurai Jack says Ninja Knight, how's it going, bro? That's good to see. Good to see. Joe Graham one says you might enter the Rouse of Tralee. I think you should. That's what's going to happen now. That's what's going to happen. You're going to see people taking the mic. Like, that'd be what, as I said there in the Woke JA video, it's what I do. Like, if I got a call off a sister or an auntie or anything like that, or off me man, she was playing in the game, or a cousin or whatever like that, if they give me a bell, or even like, you know what I mean, sisters, friends, or whatever like that, if they give me a bell and we're like, here, listen, there's a fella down here and he's lining up there for your time, I'd be like, yeah, I'll be down in 15 minutes, don't worry. I'd be going playing. But like, that's the clown world that you're living in, that you get to that point, you know what I mean? Like, and rather than going, here, what? You'd go, yeah, come on. But that's what it'll take. It'll take, you know, a clown world to be met with the real world. And, you know, you're starting to see it in America too, by the way. Like, you've got a lot of big issues now too as well, like in New York, and people are starting to see it and they're starting to go, all right, now, yeah, there's a real issue here now. But again, when it comes to that, then, like, you're going to have women's athletics overtaken by fellas, and, you know, you're going to have women then inevitably go, what's going on? And you're going, but you happy to go along with it. You were agreeing with it and you championed it on. Like, so that's why it's happening. Derek McManus says, unattractive white women let the fracking side down every time. Seems like it. Seems like it. It's generations and centuries of these people not being listened to. And now what's happened is, again, it's a positive thing with the internet in terms of information, but what's happened is it leans towards listening to these people. It's why She-Hulk is failing. You know, they've posted She-Hulk for a specific demographic, and then men aren't watching it. And if men are watching it, like me, which I will do a review on, are laughing at it, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that you're not supporting it. No, I'm not supporting it because it's terrible. Why didn't you introduce an attractive woman as Jennifer Walters, first and foremost? And second of all, why didn't you go with the comic book origins where she was defending the client, and the client was part of a certain situation that was going on with gangs, and the gang tried to attack Jennifer Walters, and then the Hulk saves her. Bruce Banner has to then stop himself becoming the Hulk to save her, otherwise going to wreck the place, and then gives her the transfusion to help her out. No, we just have a car crash and all's good then, and she's able to do all these things. Okay, well, you've taken the wrong route there on that one. Samurai Jack says, Ninja Knight, Selma Hayek, a Latina hottie. Yeah, I mean, wait until you see some of these women that are going to be interested in involving themselves with the the beauty contest. Like Eva Mendes, you'll get a chick in the next 10 years that'd be like Eva Mendes, and she'll be walking that Miss Ireland for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? She'll be outrageous, you know. Keep going through the chat. Lovely ladies competition. Stephen Rollins in here says, hey, people, hi, Ninja. Thanks. Georgia. Happened to Georgia Salba. Georgia Salba, from what I understand, got married to a very wealthy individual and is now a housewife. She's now a very happy woman. So, yeah. You're not seeing... Here's the thing. You're not seeing Georgia Salpa. Now, I might rue the day that I say this now, and probably next week now with the media, with the way they are. Some of these people clearly listening to the show, by the way, because sometimes you see some weird articles out the following week. But you're not seeing Georgia Salpa coming out online and being like, I'm totally unhappy in my life. She's having a great time. More power to her, by the way. She's enjoying herself. She's having a good time. She's well looked after. And fabulous looking lady that keeps herself well. So that's, that's what's going on. She's living a happy life, and more power to her. Derek Van Brennan says, Ninja, can you give the missus a good night, Claire? Good night, Claire. Good night, Claire, indeed. They're laughing. Samurai Jack says, Brie is not bad. She's just up her own ass. I don't think Brie Larson's great out, honestly. And she's weird looking feet as well, too. It's a particular thing to point out, but yikes. Zombie toes or something like that, isn't it? The quadrant calls it. Ninja, don't put yourself down. You would get Man United team handy, Ninja Knight. Not with the way they played against Liverpool, man. They played great. They were awesome. They were brilliant. They were, Liverpool were probably unlucky not to. They're probably unlucky that they didn't score earlier in the game. They would have been in trouble, United, I think. Especially when they scored the goal. United were close to kicking themselves, I think. Yeah, Billy the Kid, you've got that one right there. You've got fat middle-aged men getting all heated up on match day looking for out when their daughters are afraid to walk the streets at night in their own hometown. That's something that always baffled me. You're going to a game or whatever like that, happening here in Ireland as well too, like Shamrock Rovers not well beloved amongst clubs around Ireland, and you're like, you're going to have an argument over a football team. Like, that's stupid. You're a stupid person. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, there's bigger things going on here, and you're not showing any energy. And I'm not saying violent energy. I'm showing any energy. I'm not showing any care in your wallet being lightened by these people. Like, you're just showing no care. And I thought, oh, it's all right. I'm paying €8 for the point now. No, it's not. You're paying close to a tenner for that. You'd have gotten 2 points for that there a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? And even before that, then you would have got 3. But you're happy with that, and then you want to go out and say, oh, Shamrock Rovers and this and that. Like, cop yourself on. Cop yourself on. Really. Stephen Brown says, can't believe Phil's got them all moved. Absolutely. But this is what's going on now. You've seen now what's happening is the information stuff that's happening on the platforms like this is affecting movements. And I mean, here's the thing. Look at it like this. If you were able to move these people on from Bargain Town really quickly because a video came out on YouTube and it looked bad for you, should you not be moving on other people that are in this country that are here, A, illegally, and B, have done negative things, like Chico Makanda? So you have that energy to do that. You've also got the energy as well to cart Irish people that are homeless around the country to places that they need to go if they're homeless. So there you go. You know what I mean? These things are happening. And they're showing you these things in front of your face. Billy the Kid says, I'm afraid the Normies might let you down big time this winter, Ninja. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think so. I think people are going to be upset. People are talking about the dibby-dabba-doo. Dibby-dabby-doo, where are you? Oh, stuff. Yeah, some people out there that are still getting these things as well too. Because I was only saying it to the outfit the other day. I said, have you seen on YouTube sometimes with the ads that they're showing now? Did you see the recent one where they're walking through a carriage in the train, starting off now this the masked shit again, and they're like walking through and it's like, next stop Laytown, and Karen has diabetes. And then it goes in there and it shows a restaurant. The fella serving 2 old white women with no masks on. He has a mask on. Today's soup du jour is chicken and sweet corn soup. And the chef is pregnant. It's like, what is this shit? This is nonsense. Anyone that's looking at that should look at it and go, and who's attached that? The HSE attached that? Yikes. Yeah, Sheepdog says that they're not having people. Who says I'm white, though? Who says I'm white? I might not be white. You know what I mean? I might not be white. Billy the Kid says Twitter banned me for calling Lillian. Billy the Kid. Yeah, Twitter is ridiculous stuff for this. They banned me for saying someone was a donkey. Like, that is the least of what's going on that platform. But there's no doubt anyway, it was from me quoting people and being like, this is only 4 likes here and this person possesses like 300,000 followers. Like, I have more likes than this person in 15 minutes. Like, that's not right, is it? Stephen Ronan says, Ninja, what do you think of Sam Harris's comments on trigonometry about the Hunter stuff? I haven't seen it yet, so I can't comment on it. Haven't seen it at all. Seen it. Andrea Murphy's in here, says thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks, Ninja and all, says Leon Cordy. What I was a colour solve. Have a great weekend. Hoax, thumbs up. Good night and good luck to all you out there in the chat. Good man, Ninja. All the best, folks, is Mr. KF. Good to see you here. Thanks. Don't have social media. Was looking for your email, Ninja Night, to send you them. Yep. You are fuming looking at them. We'll have a chat with you about that. Sean Max says Tyson Fury talking about immigration yesterday out jogging. Bait, absolutely. He's great. He's great doing great. So Catherine O'Connor says great, Sean. Thanks very much. Eric Madden, you're on the ball there. It says Donald was good at the start, but then he started pushing the Voldemort. Yeah, he did, and that can't be forgotten. And that's going to be thrown back at him now in 2 years' time. You know what I mean? So they're all in it. They're all in on it. Like I said, I like what he's saying. I like what he's doing. But it's very, very much so going to be interesting to see how the finagle are going forward. I do think, though, from an America point of view, I think that they're willing to forgive what he's been. And some of the commentary I heard not too long ago was he might as well have promoted it to people that would have taken it, because there was always going to be people that weren't going to take it. And if he decides then to come out against it, the people that would take it would then no longer support him. Now, that is a lot of mental gymnastics, I think, whereas if he came out and been like, look, guys, I think what will happen then is big problems going forward. It's very difficult to figure out what people will do, because inevitably what's going to happen is people are going to look at it, see issues where they're going to blame everyone involved. And interesting to see how that'll go. Blue Ground wants at Southampton for the 3 points tomorrow on night. We'll see how that goes. I do think it's going to be an interesting game. 12:30 as well. It's going to be. Southampton are a good side. They're tough. They're resilient. Hassan Hoodle has them playing well, and there's some very good players in the side. But it depends on the team that he picks. Ten Hag. If he picks the same back four as the last day, I think they'll do okay. But if he puts Luke Shaw Maguire in, my thoughts on that. Amy Brooks says, I don't think women are watching Sea-Hulk either. Ninja Night, no, they haven't. And definitely not. 100%. I think so. Yeah. Sean Mike says, the League of Ireland clubs are all lefty, pro-refugees and illegal activity. Yeah, 100%. League of Ireland clubs are not for me. Not for me. Oh. Yeah, having a look at some of the comments there. A lot of people are not happy with the League of Ireland. It's been a long time since I watched the League of Ireland game, lads, to be honest with you. That. And that's what I'm saying to you. I think it's stupidity when people are like, oh, you support such a club. It's like, yeah, and that's why, like, for a long time, the JAA were very interested because I like the idea of going out to a game and you can sit amongst different fans from different counties and have a laugh and that, ride each other up, and at the end of the day, shake hands, say, have a good game, whatever. But like the soccer thing, I never got it. Never understood like why people are arguing about football teams. Fellas that are playing the shows couldn't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's stupid. But like I said, I wish that there was more energy and more people that were involved in politics that would use that instead of going out and trying to argue with people about football. Go out and run for a local councillor and make a big change. Then that's just my opinion. Hibernian Wolf says Manchester United win the game. We're in the twilight zone. Absolutely, and hopefully they keep going. Emmanuel Godson says glory and honour to Christ our King, and I think that's a fantastic one to finish on. Listen, guys, have a good weekend. Look after yourselves. God bless. Have a good one, and hopefully be here again next week, and we'll be chatting again. And keep an eye out for more videos out next week. Talk to you later. Good luck.